All right. Yeah. Hello again, guys. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I'm new to OBS. It's OBS Studio. It's just a platform that can be used to not only do what I'm doing now, where you see me on camera, but you can actually show what's on your screen. And I wanted to be able to do that so I can show you the receipts regarding what I'm going to tell you. But some of you already know, some of you may be itching to know what's going on or how it came about, at least. So, thank you guys for following me over here to this stream after the total F up in the other stream that I initially had set up on OBS Studio that I just got done talking about. So thank you all for being here. Let's see, I'm looking at the chat here. We have Constitutional Freedom Fighter. By the way, I am wearing Constitutional Freedom Fighters shirt, so you can see that. Let me get a better look at it. So this is the shirt right here. I'm sure he's in the chat. Actually, I do see him in there right now. So wanted to show a little support there. Last time I did a stream, he's like, "Where's the shirt I sent you?" All right, guys. So welcome. This live stream is an update, as you can see from the title, about the male Karen who assaulted me, committed the crime of assault. Most definitely, no question about it, no doubt about it, that he committed the crime of assault on me on public property, namely a public sidewalk. So before we get started, let me just briefly say hello to everyone. Yeah, I see your text, John Felix. I know it wasn't working, so I'm in this new one here. I appreciate that, Kenny. He says he loves my videos. I appreciate that. Tommy V, good to see you. I think Jenny's in here probably. I got some of the absolute best moderators. Just May Opinion says nice shirt. Instead of just my opinion, just May Opinion. I didn't mispronounce it. That's the actual name there. All right. So for those of you who haven't seen or don't know about what happened in the video I posted yesterday morning, essentially there was a individual who I had the unfortunate circumstance of meeting at the True Leave cannabis dispensary. I was on a public sidewalk doing what I usually do, taking pictures and video, working on the usual story, trying to figure out the condition of the locals and everything going on around me and what happens when you exercise your rights. It just goes to show that there's more evidence that most Americans do not know their rights or don't care or just straight up hate our rights. That is usually the story. To no shock, no surprise, we did have a Karen show up. I don't know his name. He was the guy in the video that was wearing the bright green shirt, the type of color that you see a lot of construction workers or those that work in the blue collar industry wear, so that traffic can see them. I didn't realize at the time that I was there what his job was, but apparently someone or perhaps multiple people saw from the shirt he was wearing his uniform shirt, which is stupid. If you're going to misbehave, you're going to lash out like that and do it in your uniform, the place that you work. You're representing where you work when you're wearing the uniform. So he made a very big mistake there. And as you can probably already figure it out, if you haven't figured it out already, he has been fired from his job. And the reason why I was trying to use OBS Studio, because I wanted to show you the receipt. So I guess I'll just have to read it and you have to take my word for it. But several people said they did the same exact thing and they got the same exact response back from the employer from where he works. So this was just done proactively from people who have watched my videos. So I'm just going to read this real quick. This is going to be anonymous because, privacy. But someone who watched my video sent me this. The original video that was sent to this Karen's place of work was, "Hey, I saw a video on which one of your employees stalked and assaulted someone on a sidewalk." Yeah, he also stalked me, by the way. He clearly works for your company as advertised on his shirt he was wearing as he walked away from said assault. Bad decision on his part, I guess. I am sure you've seen it and if you haven't, you should. And apparently this is the same kind of copy and paste response that this employer named Scott has been sending back to everyone who emails this employer. It says, the employee in the video was terminated for violating company policy. And the reason, or the policy that was copy and pasted, was their uniform use policy. Off duty and off property. Employees are required to wear company issued uniforms only while actively working or while on company property. Employees are required to wearing company uniforms or other identifiable company clothing outside of work hours or off company property is prohibited, except for traveling directly to or from work, company sponsored events, situations expressly approved by management. Employees must remove or cover company uniforms immediately after work when leaving the property for personal activities. The use of company uniforms in situations that may reflect negatively on the company, including but not limited to social gatherings, public venues, or personal errands, is strictly prohibited. Failure to comply with this policy may result in corrective action up to termination. Very standard policy. What I wanted to point out there is I was surprised to hear about him being fired so quickly. So I think it's safe to say that employers in his company saw the video, and that's probably the real reason they let him go from his employment there. But they made it about the uniform. And it's not uncommon for companies or private companies to find a more convenient reason that's just easier for them to let somebody go. I don't know what that reason is, or I don't really understand the logic behind it, but it's not uncommon for private companies to do that. So I think it's safe to say, though, they saw the video. I mean, obviously they did, because that's how they would know that he was wearing his uniform during that time of what happened. So I'm sure they actually saw what actually happened. And you get what you get, right? I mean, if you're going to act out like that, it's a perfect FAFO situation. And so, yeah, there you go. So he did commit assault. I'm 100% sure about that. So in the state of Florida, you actually have assault and battery. They're two separate charges, unlike other states across the country, such as like Washington State, for example. In Washington State and other states like it, you have both of them combined. So you have assault and battery as one charge. In the state of Florida, though, where I am, assault and battery are two separate charges. So battery essentially is unwanted touching. Contact has been made. In assault, though, it's certain very specific elements leading up to a potential battery. So, for example, someone advancing towards you aggressively. That's one of the elements of assault. And I think combined with that, the person has to either attempt to assault you or make it verbally obvious, or say something verbally that would indicate or suggest or directly just say straight up that they're going to bring harm or bring violence upon you, as they have the capability to do so. So that essentially that's my understanding of assault. Actually, you know what? I can look up the statute in Florida. We can read it together here in a little bit. Let me just look it up here real quick. But I want to let you guys know, part of the update is I did reach out to Marion County Sheriff's Office. There was actually a Marion County Sheriff's Office right next door, literally right next door to where this Trulieve cannabis dispensary was, where all this took place. And I spoke to a deputy on the phone, and the deputy on the phone said, well, send me the video clip of where the actual alleged assault took place. We'll take a look at it and we'll get back to you on an unknown number. So within an hour of me sending that clip, I get a response from this deputy who all of a sudden was being a jerk. I should have recorded the conversation. My bad. And he said, yeah, we watched the video, or I watched the video, and I don't see the elements of assault. He goes, he didn't reach out to try to hit you or anything. I'm like, are you watching the same video? I never claimed that he tried to commit assault. And I told him very clearly, I told you already that I never stated that he committed a battery. I said, battery has nothing to do with this. It's all about assault, which he did commit that crime of assault. And how he committed assault was he stated something along the lines that he was going to beat me up or smash my face. As he then advanced toward me, he charged at me, directly at me, getting in my face and talking a lot of crap, saying, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do?" So, I mean, I had every right. I was within my right to deck this guy or pull out the sauce. A lot of you have been asking me, like, "Well, why didn't you?" This was like a perfect scenario that would justify responding in such a way. And the reason I didn't is because I guess I missed what he had said right before he charged at me. Because when he charged at me, everything that was said moments before, like, went in one ear, out the other, didn't register exactly what he said. Of course, if he would have touched me, it would have been a different story. But you got to understand, when you do what I do, when you do what people like me do, you're out there and you understand that a lot of law enforcement do not particularly like people doing First Amendment audits or this type of journalism. And so it has to be abundantly clear that what happened or what transpired was a crime against you. Because that's what you all have seen on other channels, especially on my channel, time and time again, whenever I try to press charges on someone who clearly is an assailant, who clearly committed a crime against me, what typically happens is that nothing happens to them. They let them go scot-free, and then they get all my information. And that's pretty much that. Then I'm like trying to chase them down and go through this really unnecessarily long process to try to get some accountability. And so when that's happening in live time, real time, it's, sometimes, too much time goes by and then you can't do anything because then it's retaliation. So, he never put his hands on me. Hands never went on, never made contact with me or my property. It is what it is. But, when you're in the moment, you don't always catch everything. It's not like I'm sitting there in my mind trying to check off the boxes for, okay, does this fit into the category of assault? Am I good to let loose now? I mean, it's just, sometimes you miss things. I didn't realize what he had said until actually after the incident. And I went to my car and I was like looking through to see what he had said. I was like, oh, he did say he was going to bring violence against me. I had every right to just shut it down right then and there. And I kind of regret it, but some poetic justice has taken place. He's lost his job. I'm going to contact law enforcement again and talk to somebody else and show them the statute for assault and ask them, well, how does this not fit assault? And why are you saying that you're not going to pursue it? Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's 100%, 200% assault. All right, let me stop and look at the comments here. So who do we have here today? We've got Poor Dirt Farmer. What's up, man? I see you everywhere. I think I saw some things to do with memberships. Isa Margate, what's up? Kinetic, Rich, formerly known as Rich Saves America, Kinetic Audits. What's up, man? I watch your videos. So, I just don't, this goes without saying. When you're in public and you see someone minding their own business and they're doing something that might seem a little weird to you, the best thing to do is just be on your best behavior. Dan C. Bearded, he says, beard journey back beginning soon. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'll grow my beard back out again. So Dan C. Bearded has a whole channel dedicated to maintaining a healthy beard. And yeah, Polk County sucks too, by the way, as said by someone in the chat for sure. Let's see. Yeah, this is a public service, says that, or minding your own effing business. Absolutely, man. Like when I'm out there on a sidewalk, I'm essentially doing technically what's called a sidewalk audit. I choose, people ask me all the time, like they say, I support the First Amendment, but why do you go out to these cannabis dispensaries? Well, the reason is because I want to go to those places where people might mistakenly think that they have a reasonable expectation of privacy. And the whole purpose of this channel is to spread an education. So you want to go to those places where there might be some misnomers, or might be some misunderstanding as to what can or cannot transpire from a public sidewalk. So you don't want to go to those places where everyone already knows, like, oh yeah, he's good, he's good out there to do what he's doing, and you're not going to get any pushback whatsoever. So you want to go to those places where you have an opportunity to share an education about the First Amendment. That's what it's all about, and really to get an idea of how, if people who say they believe in the First Amendment or understand the Constitution actually do understand and believe in it, because you see the opposite, as you saw in the last video. There was a gentleman in his car that was telling me, or asking me all kinds of questions, the typical questions like, what are you doing? He was actually, he carries a Constitution pamphlet in his car. And he actually showed me his pamphlet and he was like arguing that I hadn't read it. And he's like this, he's a big proponent of the Constitution. And here he is arguing with me on a sidewalk, telling me that he's going to go file a complaint on me to law enforcement. And he swore up and down that it's not public property because it's state property. I'm like, dude, you understand that they're synonymous, right? Public property, state property, sidewalk, traditional public forum, doesn't get any more public than that. And he starts talking a bunch of crazy nonsense that they run utility lines and stuff through there, and so they have right of way. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? So just because someone says they believe in the Constitution and Bill of Rights, First Amendment, whatever, doesn't mean they actually do. So even a lot of people who follow me, I see in the comments, they'll say something like, they say, I don't understand the dispensary audits. I don't understand why you stand out on a sidewalk in front of a dispensary or any private business. I'm like, well, why not? And they're like, well, I support the First Amendment. Don't get me wrong. But, I just think people should have some expectation of privacy when they go to a weed dispensary. And my response to that is, I want to know who actually supports and believes in the First Amendment versus those who care more about feelings, comfort, safety, and security. There's a difference between those of us who really believe, who truly believe in the First Amendment, versus those who would be okay in certain situations to have feelings essentially supersede our American rights. And I like to see who really is in it. This really tells me who really believes in it versus those who are just giving lip service. And that's why I choose the places that I go to, because you have this consensus where people think mistakenly that they have expectation of privacy, and they really don't. I see First Amendment protection agencies in here. Thank you for being here, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, when I was trying to figure out the live and the original live stream that I was trying to use using OBS Studio, Johnny was texting me. He was like trying to help me out, but I appreciate that though. I'll figure out OBS Studio some other time, but yeah, it's been a while since I've used it. So forgive me, guys. Let's see what we have here in the comments. So yeah, that's the update on the Karen who assaulted me on public property on a public sidewalk the other day. This literally happened 2 days ago, and I posted the video yesterday morning. So it's the latest video I have posted as of right now. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. You won't be disappointed. I mean, you might be disappointed that I didn't hit him or fight him or something, or spray him at the very least. But again, like I already went over my reasons for why that didn't happen. Just trying to be extra careful, because I know that, places like Marion County, they, from what I've heard, they don't particularly like people exercising their first. So now as far as updates go, that's all I have on the Karen who assaulted me the other day. He was fired, so there's that. And I already said that I'm going to be reaching back out to law enforcement, and I'm going to press charges. I'm definitely going to press charges. I'm sick and tired of these people getting away with stuff. Oh, another update. This is a perfect transition into what I wanted to tell you as well. Remember that older lady that I pepper sprayed outside of a Curaleaf that went viral? Well, a lot of people in the comments, well, I shouldn't say a lot, because most of you saw right through her act. But I can understand why some people thought maybe she actually did have dementia, because she was trying to play that old lady card. Oh, I don't remember, what happened, where am I? And she was, she came across as someone who might have signs of dementia. And I even thought maybe for a moment, maybe perhaps she had beginning signs of that. But I received a email and ended up talking to someone who reached out to me saying that he recognized that area because he lived in Melbourne for some time, which is like where all this took place in that in Brevard County area, or in Brevard County. And he said that he knows of someone who had a past with the same lady where she did something similar. She went hands-on with someone who owned a lawn business or something, and she went Karen on him or something and put her hands on him. And this was like, I guess, years before my interaction with her, where I pepper sprayed her in self-defense. And here's the funny thing. Recently, as in this, so this all took place, my interaction with this lady took place in January, right? No more than like right around a month later, in February at some point, that same lady who I sprayed, and she was like, oh, you know, she didn't say she had dementia, but she was acting like she had dementia. Well, she went to her workplace. She worked, at a salon. She got fired from her salon by the owner for attacking her owner. So she apparently, from what I've heard, this is allegedly, she would sometimes show up to work drunk. She's known for being drunk at times, like showing up to work drunk. And so she likes to drink, and she showed up to a workplace and she got into it with the owner. I guess something to do with her being drunk. I don't know if that was the reason for like how this confrontation all started or whatever, but she did batter the owner of where she works. And of course, she got fired that day. And she was charged with battery because, I mean, her boss isn't going to fall for that dementia crap. She knows very well she doesn't have dementia. So the same lady who some of you probably felt sorry for, I even kind of felt sorry for her. Well, she didn't learn her lesson, and I didn't press any charges on her. So now I'm going to have to go press charges on her, because with this new information that I received, with this pattern leading up to my interaction with her, and then since then, she obviously hasn't learned her lesson, and she's continually putting her hands on other people and assaulting, battering other people. So I'm going to make sure that she's held accountable. So I want to give you guys that update as well. And as far as holding people accountable, there's 2 other individuals that I'm still following to see what happens with them versus the state or the state attorney's office. And that is Ginger Snap. A lot of you saw that. I'm still holding him accountable. So that's still ongoing. And also that other individual who got a baseball bat and was charged with assault with a deadly weapon in Brevard County. But all these took place in Brevard County. That's funny. All these things took place in Brevard. So the guy with the baseball bat, the older lady that I pepper sprayed, those were both in Brevard County. And then the individual that this live stream is mainly about, that did not take place in Brevard County. That took place in Ocala. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Yeah, Kinetic Audits. Ginger Snap was the biggest idiot he says he's ever seen. I mean, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, this is a public service says, you gave her dementia. I sprayed her into dementia. Let's see here. What else we got? Yeah, it was definitely in her best self-interest to pretend that she had dementia, because that was her way, I guess, of avoiding taking any ownership or acknowledging any of the facts of what happened. So she just pretended to be in a daze the entire time. She got a free ride from law enforcement back to her home. Yeah, Dan C. Bearded says the body cam footage at Ginger Snap's home was gold. It absolutely was. What an idiot. You don't talk to law enforcement. Any of these door talks, you don't want to say anything that might incriminate you. He definitely further incriminated himself there, for sure. And it just proves that he hasn't learned his lesson. He's still lying. He's still saying things like, oh, he was saying that I was out there for 2 hours recording, when in fact, after he was harassing me for like a good, 10, 15 minutes, I had only been recording like 18 minutes, less than 20 minutes at that time. I even pointed that out in the camera footage, in the video. So, Yeah, another reason why I record outside of cannabis dispensaries is because you get a lot of strange rangers out there, a lot of interesting characters. Now, when I say interesting characters, I don't mean bad characters. They're not all bad. You just get some interesting people. You get some good, some bad, but they're interesting nonetheless. There's some real characters out there for some reason. So I got to give credit where credit's due, though. Johnny with First Amendment Protection Agency, he's the one that started. I believe he's the one that started the dispensary audits or popularized it. I'm not really sure. He probably started, is my guess, but I got to give credit to him because he started that. And I got to give him credit too on the cambacks, on the selfie cambacks in response to the cambacks that I receive out there. That's his idea. I thought that was a good idea. And of course, there's that line. I knew you were okay with it. Have to throw that in there. So credit to FAP 100% on that. Banks are good too because people think they have expectation of privacy there. Outside jewelry stores, I don't personally, if you were to ask me like what places I personally don't want to do, I don't want to do places where people are out eating and enjoying their time. Simply because, I don't feel right doing it. I'm not saying it's wrong. And I totally support anyone's First Amendment to do that. But personally, I just stick to places where people go to just simply carry out a transaction. They go in, they look around or complete a transaction and they come out. I mean, those are the types of places I have no problem standing out on a public sidewalk in front of, because it's not like I'm making people uncomfortable with them enjoying time with their family out and that kind of thing. Not that there's anything wrong with standing out and recording. I'm not saying that. I totally support that. So I just personally, I don't really, I'm not saying I never will do that, but that's why I haven't done that at this point. Somebody's quoting me from another video, or I guess I said in multiple videos, I'll forever change the way you brush your teeth. Yeah, that's a good one. Kinetic Audits says, good for you, Zach. I don't do churches. I do churches. I do mega churches. Okay. I don't go to any church. If it's a solid church, if it's like a church that I think is a solid, doctrinally sound church, I won't do it. But if it's like a Catholic church or it's like a big mega type church, mega Protestant church, where it's like a Six Flags over Jesus, I have no problem staying on those sidewalks. And I actually did one this past Sunday. You'll never see the footage because everyone was super nice. It was like one of those big mega churches, Protestant churches. And literally every single person I made eye contact with, they were waving at me. I was waving back. They were giving me the peace sign. They were just kind of like being lighthearted about it. That's the way it's done. I may not agree with that church's doctrinal positions and stuff, but man, the people there were super nice. And so, that video will never see the light of day because there you go. And someone mentioned Joel Osteen. Yeah, he's more of a motivational speaker than a pastor. So that would be a type of church that I would love to go stand outside of for sure. I get a lot of suggestions and tips and leads of places to go outside of Florida or even like far away in Florida. If it's more than like a 3-hour drive, if you want me to go out to your area, I'm going to need my airfare covered because I'm not making that much money right now because my main source of income here is on YouTube. And the way I look at it, I'm technically a 1099, but the way I look at the monetizations that I make is like commission-based sales, basically, is how I look at it, because I've worked commission-based sales before, and it's the same kind of stress, the same kind of way of making income. So it's got to bear with me until I start making it big here. I can start traveling throughout the country. I've already been to Pasco. Somebody asked me if I've been there. I've been there a couple times. Kenneth Copeland's another cult leader. I have no problem doing audits outside of that ward. Yeah. If you have tips and leads for me, by the way, you're welcome to send it to me I want to try to direct everyone to my Proton mail. Just because Gmail they love the government and they'll hand anything over to them without question. So for privacy reasons, Fourth Amendment reasons, I would suggest sending tips and leads to my Proton mail. So that's going to be basically it's going to start out the same as my Gmail, libertytroll.llc. Again, that's libertytroll.llc at proton.me. Proton.me. Same thing as my Gmail. It's just at proton.me. That's where you can send tips and leads. Okay. That way, we're using something that's highly encrypted. And I think it's like stored or based somewhere out in Switzerland or somewhere or other, another country. And there would have to be a bunch of steps done in the United States for them to get subpoena stuff. And then at that point, good luck even getting it because it's so heavily encrypted. So that's why I use proton.me. You know who's really knowledgeable about that? You should ask about that is Inland Auditing Media. He's the one that told me about using that and sold me on it. So, AKA I Am Free. He's amazing. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to him, you should definitely do so. Thank you for all the members, by the way. I've been getting I've finally reached 20. I think right now I have 21 members last time I checked. So that means I'll start doing weekly members only live streams. So I appreciate all those who became a member. If you haven't become a member, please consider becoming one. At the end of the day, it's really just about an affordable way to support me, this channel. Again, this is where I make my income is on here. And, 1 month I could be doing pretty well. And then another month it could be not so well. And it's kind of a scary position to be in when you're making commission only, in this case, ad revenue only. So I appreciate your help there as well. Thanks for posting the link, Tommy, to Inland Auditing Media's channel. And like I said already, I'll say it again. It's got some of the best mods here. Poor Dirt Farmer says up here in North Florida is the worst. I mean, Florida is a police state in general. It's terrible. When I first, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I've said it many times. Florida is a police state. And I'm not the only one who says that. In fact, I know other auditors who have told me, Zach, I will never audit in Florida. Florida is pretty much gone. You saw what happened to me in Polk County. I didn't break any laws. I wasn't trespassing. I was never formally trespassed. I wasn't doing anything to warrant a trespass. And a month after the incident, the prosecutor all of a sudden decides to charge me with trespass. That tells me they're just going to do it infinitum. They're just going to do it forever to bankrupt anybody who dares to exercise their First Amendment and take a camera into Polk County public property. And so the update on that, by the way, is I did officially hire the attorney that I had told you guys about in previous live streams. So his first name is Jerry. I can't pronounce his last name. If you could look at his last name, it is very difficult to somebody go ahead and boot the impersonator of audit them. That's not really audit them. So any doxing, no doxing will be permitted on this channel. So I don't like to censor people, but when it comes to doxing, impersonating, and threats of violence or reporting and that sort of stuff, those are the only things that I would censor. Everything else, whatever, I don't care. People can call me names. People can say whatever they want as long as they're not breaking the law and as long as they're not doing those other things that I just talked about. I'm okay with whatever's in the chat. Maddie D says, hey, Zach, I've been a mod for Chili from Delete Laws for a while. If you need more mods, just let me know. Okay, yeah, I'll consider that, man. Send me an email. Por favor, remind me. I'll take a look there. Consider that. Dan C. Bearded says, instead of super chats, people can donate memberships to the chat. Very cool way to grow your community in a win-all way. Yeah, I don't know much about the membership stuff. I see people like gifting memberships and stuff. I don't even know what that means. Does that mean that people are like paying for memberships? So if I see that notification on here that says memberships gifted, 5 memberships gifted, whatever, does that mean that somebody paid for 5 memberships? I don't know. I'm guessing that's what that means. I'm kind of new to all this membership stuff. I neglected to utilize that function until I reached 100,000 subscribers. I wanted to make sure that I could offer something Yeah, somebody says exactly. And then YouTube randomly selects amounts or accounts, excuse me, in the chat. Oh, so random people get it. That's cool. I like that. Man, I wish I would have done this sooner. I would have had maybe 200 members by now, at least. Yeah, that's my goal, by the way. I'm trying to get to 200 members. If you guys can help me reach that, that'd be great. Just to get a little bit more consistent income coming in and have a reason to offer more than I'm offering now. So, and I'm open to ideas, whatever else that you see would be beneficial to the community. I'm open. I'm all ears. So, hold on. I'm trying to like something, but never mind. Thanks for the $4.99. Let's Otvo. He says, we don't stop. That's right. We don't stop. Never going to stop fighting for rights. That's for sure. Someone says, I love Amagansett too. New video coming this morning. All right. You guys make sure you go watch Amagansett Press's video. I think he does a terrific job in what he does. Excellent job in what he does. He's actually one of the first auditors, more specifically the second auditor that I discovered and I really started to binge watch. The very first one, it's no secret, I love Long Island Audit. He's the first one that I was introduced to by random chance. And it was his content that informed me of First Amendment auditing. I had no idea that First Amendment auditing was a thing. I had never heard about it. Yeah, guys, I'm late to the party. I know I was super late to the party. I had no idea this was a thing. I never knew this amazing community existed. I just was watching randomly Long Island Audit's videos and I thought it was funny. And then I was like, wow, I didn't know we could actually like pick up a camera and start recording in a DMV. That's wild. So I started watching and learning from his stuff. And then when I binge watched most of his content and got caught up, this was like 3 years ago. And then somebody, one of my friends who I was talking to, I said, bro, I've been watching this First Amendment audit stuff. Have you heard of it? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, you have? He's like, yeah, it's a very popular thing. I'm like, oh, really? He goes, you should watch this guy, Amagansett Press. And so he sent me a link to one of his videos, and I actually didn't really care for it too much at first. Maybe he sent me a video that wasn't like one of his best, but the algorithm started sharing more of his videos, and then I really started liking it. He's got the best verbal judo that I've seen when it comes to like just the back and forth, in these confrontations. Does an amazing job. Thank you so much, Kinetic Audits, for the 5. That's previously Rich Saves America. He says you can give away 10 memberships a month. Oh, really? I have to really make sure that's getting utilized. That's awesome, man. Thank you guys so much for letting me know what's up. I'm kind of behind in all this stuff. We have another $4.99 from Ben Will Win. He says, bro, why is your house so clean? Yeah, my house, I'm a neat freak. I'm a clean freak, and I'm kind of a germaphobe. So FYI, my eldest son, when he comes over, he goes, Dad, everything's always so clean over here compared to my mom's house. I'm like, yeah, well, it's 50% usually just me. I've got 2 boys. I have a teenager, and then I have a little one, and my little one has, he has high functioning autism and as cute as can be, man. I love my boys, but yeah, my place is always clean. I keep it this way. I don't even use my kitchen. I don't cook, and I know I should, because I'd save so much money. I eat out all the time. It's unhealthy and it's costly, and I could save myself so much money and be so much healthier like I used to be if I just used my kitchen. But I don't like to get it dirty. I hate cleaning. I hate cleaning the kitchen, so I just don't even use it. I keep the bathroom pretty clean, so I don't have to get down and really clean with elbow grease every week. I'll clean it like every 2 or 3 weeks, and I just maintain pretty well. So anyway, sorry to go on a tangent about that. Who cares, right? Yeah, BAT is also awesome. Someone says in the chat, he was probably like the 3rd or 4th auditor I discovered, and really like his stuff for sure. He's funny. He's a character. Everyone's a character in this community. It's really cool. Constitutional Freedom Fighter says, Zach wouldn't see a gift membership if it hit him in the face. Yeah. There's a lot of comments in here. Thank you all for being here, by the way. Y'all let me know what I can be doing, what I could be offering. And if you're reserved and signing up for a membership on my channel, let me know like how I could convince you to sign up. I could use the extra income, and I would like to know like what you would like to see, offered in a membership to make it worth your while. I'm open. I'm open to ideas within reason. I'm all ears, so let me know. Another person says, Tyrant Terminator is a beast. I see him. I see his name being thrown around a lot. I've seen some of his videos. He's good at what he does. He stands his ground. I like that. I like that. KULT News. Yeah, I like his stuff a lot too. He's one of the ones I think is absolutely hilarious. Like, he's a likable guy and he's funny. I've seen Liberty Patrol pop up. I've seen a couple of those videos. They're pretty wild. I know he's up and coming. So there's another channel called Liberty Patrol. I'll throw his name out there for you guys. So he's newer, and it gets physical quite a lot. And he defends himself pretty well. So I would check that one out. Here's another super chat for 5 from Honest Abe. He says, when did you feel like you were ready to start your channel and be public? Yeah, so thank you for that question, because I go off on tangents quite easily. It's like squirrel, and then I forget what I was talking about. So yeah, so I told you a little bit about like how I found out about auditing and what got me interested. So at what point did I feel like I was ready to go out and start auditing? It took no more than 3 weeks. So all this took place in a matter of 3 weeks. I was really binge watching Long Island Audit and Amagansett Press, and I started watching a few others like here and there, kind of sprinkled in. But I think one of those was BAT, and another one was Denver Metro Audits. I'd seen a couple of his old like classic library videos, and I thought it was funny. And so I knew that I wanted to go to like my local city hall, which is the Orlando City Hall. And excuse me. I wanted to start small though, in case I didn't want to mess up at a place that I thought would be a good potential banger video. So I wanted to start small, and I went to my local library. And at the time I lived in Celebration, Florida. So I went to this, they have a really nice town library there. And I walked in with the camera and the body cam. I didn't want to start until I had that, just in case. And so I ordered the same one that Long Island Audit had actually on Amazon. I seen in one of his videos, he did a giveaway a while ago, and I looked to see what he had. It was a Meowfly, which is the same one I have. And I found it on Amazon. I ordered it. So I figured, well, hey, if he used it, it's probably a good one. And so literally 3 weeks after, just, as I'm watching these videos, it took no more than 3 weeks to be like, you know what, I'm resolved to do this myself, pick up a camera. All I was waiting on was that body cam to come in the mail. Once I got that bad boy, I went out to my library, and yeah, it's all history from there. So that's how it all began. Not a very super interesting story, but that's how it came about. And then I realized afterwards there was like this whole community of you guys, and then I didn't realize there were so many auditors. I thought it was just like Long Island Audit, Amagansett Press, and a few others, and then some of the well-known auditors that you guys are familiar with, if you've been following this phenomena for 10 years or however long it's been around. Some of those guys were reaching out to me and introduced me to other people, and we met up, and I got to meet some of the greats like Rogue Nation and John Felix, Wrights Crispy, and This Is a Public Service, so on. And since then, I've met quite a few others. Jeff Gray, he's a real deal. There's a lot of good ones out there. Man, what's going on? I need to drink water. What's up, Maryland Activism? I see you're a member. So you can see who the members are. They've got that blue star next to their name. So Tommy V is a member. Thank you so much. I know Jenny, one of my mods, is a member. Maryland Activism, shout out to you for being a member. Brian Johnson, thank you for being a member. Poor Dirt Farmer is a member. Thank you. Let me see who else is a member. I'm scrolling up. Man, there's a lot of chat going on here. I can't keep up. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so, before this, Karen that I ran into the other day that really effed around and found out by getting himself fired from his job. What an idiot. I was updating you guys on, and I've given you some more updates about what's going on in Polk County. So I raised some monies from you guys. So far, I raised like anywhere between 1,800 to 2,000. I'm trying to get to 5,000. It might actually be a little bit more than what I said it was. It might be a little bit more than $2,000, but it's like a little bit more or less from $2,000 that I've raised out of 5,000. So the links are in the chat and on my page. There's GoFundMe, there's Cash App, there's Venmo. I don't use PayPal, so that's not one of the options, I don't think. But yeah, there's at least 3 options there for anyone who would like to contribute towards the attorney. He allowed me, so I hired the attorney. Great attorney, by the way. I can't wait to, perhaps he'll come on my live stream sometime. We can kind of chat with you guys. I haven't asked him if he'd be open to that or not, but I'm curious. I don't see why he seems like the kind of guy that probably would. He's super cool, super into the First Amendment, Second Amendment. If you go to his page, he talks a lot about like the Second Amendment. This guy's a true patriot. And from what I've heard about what he's done for others, what he's done for other cases, he's done a really good job. He really goes after the state, after the prosecutors and stuff. He's someone you want on your side for sure. Somebody said Direct D is highly intelligent. He is intelligent when he wants to be. He's one of the ones that I guess is kind of talking a lot about the community and how he's kind of separated himself, or at least has separated himself from like your newer auditors like myself who go out on private property, or excuse me, on a sidewalk in front of private property. He's not for that, obviously, but I don't think his points are that hard to defeat. I don't really think they're not invalid points, but there's certainly points that are worth talking about. But I don't think his arguments are that great. So, but he's a smart guy. Does a great job editing. He actually did a video on my arrest in Polk County that took place a couple years back in January of 2024. And he did a pretty good video about it. And, when he talks, so you can tell when he tries to, he can be intelligible and he's a smart guy. Doesn't really try to come across that way, but he's a smart guy. Just, I disagree from what I've heard from you guys and things that he's saying. And I've watched a couple of his stuff in live streams. I can't watch his live streams because there's a lot of dead air and stuff, but I get the gist of the arguments he makes, and I don't think they're that great for the reasons that I've already kind of argued or spoke about in this live already about why I go out to dispensaries, for example. I think it's very valid to go out there and exercise rights. And I think you can still call it auditing. But even if you can't really call it auditing, you can still call it activism or whatever. No big deal. I don't understand the big deal behind all of that. But anyways, I see Eli, the People's Guy, is mentioned in here as well. I think he's a character. He makes good music, actually. I heard he makes music, and I listened to a couple of his songs. And he actually is really good. I actually really liked a couple of his work there. Somebody mentioned Liberty Hangout. It's funny. Liberty Hangout has even said, kind of joked around saying, I should be a First Amendment auditor, just based on some of the interactions that she's had here in Florida, out exercising her freedom of speech and freedom of press in public. And Lakeland, there was this whole fiasco where they trespassed her and they ended up rescinding it and everything. But it was this big thing And that wasn't the only place that happened. I believe it happened in like Winter Garden or something or other. I can't remember, but I know Lakeland. That's Polk County, by the way. Polk County sucks, man. They don't like the First Amendment, but at least they rescinded it. I think it's only because she has a platform that she has a huge platform of 1 million+ subscribers and really shined a light, and they didn't want that PR damage. So anyway, I would love to meet up with Liberty Hangout sometime. She's all over Florida. She was just recently in Kissimmee, Florida, out there where all the people were protesting, and she was asking questions, and that's right close to the Erie where I grew up in. So it was interesting to see her out there. Somebody says, Zach, have you ever met Mr. America? That's from RJ. No, I have never met him. I know he's been around in Florida. Mr. America is Auditing America. I haven't seen him for a while, any of his stuff, but he's been to a lot of the same places that I've been to. I guess he lived around here for a time. Is John Felix in here? Did I miss you? Hey, John. Oh, there you are. Nice to see you, John. John Felix says, Bay Area Transparency is live at 8 p.m. Nice. Live. Is that tonight? You guys if that's tonight at 8 p.m., I'm guessing that's Eastern time, right, John? I'll be there. I'll try to be there if I can at all. I'll definitely be there. Yeah, Tommy V says it was Lakeland and Winter Garden Farmers Market regarding Liberty Hangout, going through what she went through with her rights being violated or chilled. Yeah. Yeah, you guys got to let me know if you know Liberty Hangout is going to be somewhere near Orlando. Let me know. I'll try to go out there and meet with her, say hello, and maybe appear on her video. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe ask her if she wants to go out and do some auditing. Tito Apollos says, Zach, how can I talk with you? I need your help. Yeah, just send me an email. Send it to libertytroll.llc@proton.me. Proton.me. And yeah, Warren Sapp has become a beast. That's right, James. James is talking about NFL, none other than NFL legend, Hall of Famer, retired linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Warren Sapp. He is now tackling tyrants like he used to tackle out on the football field. I just spoke with him the other day. He's got some things in the works. I'm not going to spoil it for you on his behalf, but he's got some things going on, and man, that guy's tearing it up. There's some big things coming with Warren Sapp, so be on the lookout for that. And if you're ever using the acronym for the 5 fundamental freedoms or elements of the First Amendment, the acronym has been known as RAPS, RAPPS, but now since Warren Sapp is involved, it is now RSAP. Remember that acronym. You have to use that acronym, okay? I don't want any excuses. Let's see. Yeah, I get people asking to audit with me or do like a field day with me out auditing. I hesitate to do that. I mean, I'm not against it, and perhaps I will do. I've done that, and I'll probably do it some more. But I generally, especially if you don't have any audits under your belt that I can review to see how you are under pressure or in situations that are highly risky, I don't feel comfortable taking just random strangers that I've never met out on audits because, if let's just say you're that person, I take you out with me to do some audits and you F up and you do something stupid or you commit a crime, like I'm on the hook now as well. So that's why I like to go. I prefer to go by myself. Also, sometimes when you go out with other people, like, you get one person trying to talk and the other person's trying to talk at the same time, and then you can't really make out what's being said, and it just makes for kind of an annoying video sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes they're really fun. Like when I go with the J-Town Press, it's usually very fun, and it's in my opinion, they're hilarious videos to see, and there's just so much comedy relief and lighthearted tension going on. It's just It's a lot of fun. And same thing with, others that I've gone out and audited with. Joey Surreal, he and I are going to do some more collaborations here, I guess, pretty soon, hopefully this month. And, I would love to do audits with I Am Free. I would love to go hang out with him because I always learn something from him. That guy's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Personally, that's who I would want to go audit with. Yeah, I just got a text here from, let me see. Yeah, absolutely. I already have, but I'll say it again. Guys, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time, make sure you go over to John Felix's channel. He's going to be interviewing none other than Bay Area Transparency. BAT, baby. Make sure you go check that out. I'll definitely be there if I can. I don't want to promise I'll be there, but I'm like 98% sure I'll be there. What's up, Blue Steel? Blue Steel is over there in North Florida, down in the swamp. He was one of the guys that I met when I was invited over to, meet up with Wrights Crispy, Rogue Nation, John Felix for the first time, and the J-Town Press. We had Blue Steel over there. I wonder if he got that Blue Steel name from, what's that movie again with Ben Stiller? Zoolander. That's a good movie. Blue Steel. Yeah, Kinetic Audit says he says that he left in the middle of a team up audit because the guy he was with was screaming at everyone. We are supposed to be the good guys, I told. Yeah, you won't catch me doing that. Sometimes I'll do like a Freedom Hawk or a Freedom Owl, hoo 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 hoo, or something like that, just to kind of get people's attention and let them. If I'm standing like 100 yards away and nobody sees me, I'll kind of throw out a harmless animal sound or something, just so they know that I'm out there. And that's the extent of what I do. But it just kind of makes for some lighthearted fun. Which me, when I capture someone's attention, I'm always respectful, and there's really no reason for others to escalate the situation at that point. Let's see. John Felix, you're a legend. Yeah. He is the legend. That's what I call him, the legend. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with James Freeman. I've heard that he, for the sake of his, quality time with his family and stuff, and just the stress and headache of the retaliation and things, he just decided to put it away. That's what I heard. That's all I know about it. But that's just alleged. I don't really know if that's the case or not. So, Freedom Audit asks, do you find Florida saturated with auditors? Yeah, I run into that quite a bit. That's one of the reasons, not the chief reason, but it's definitely one of the reasons why you see a lot more sidewalk audits on my channel, is because I've been to you name it, I've probably already been there, and within a 2-hour radius of where I live. So I can't really afford to be traveling outside of 2 hours, often anyway, to go other places. But even if I were to drive more than 2 hours out, chances are there's been another auditor or so that's already been out there and has done their thing. And so it's like, you gotta time it where, so much time has gone by, and maybe there needs to be another education, or maybe there's new employees or whatever. So it's good to keep it fresh, but you don't want to go like right after someone else is gone. I try to not do that. So that's one of the reasons why I wish I could travel around, so I can go to other public buildings and stuff. That's what I prefer to do. I much prefer to go check up on our government. It's a civic duty, that's primarily what I want to do. I can totally understand people like, Direct D, having a preference for that. I think he takes it a little bit too far, obviously, by throwing rocks at people who do sidewalk audits. But yeah, I definitely see the appeal to do that more. I personally enjoy it more. I personally think it's more meaningful, but I definitely see the value and the education that can be had from doing the sidewalk audits. They still get a lot of views, and even if the people that are there at the business that you're standing in front of on a sidewalk, if they're not understanding what's going on, at least the hundreds or thousands of people who watch the videos will. And it's not like the video is sitting somewhere collecting cobwebs. It's being seen by a lot of people, and people are still being educated in that respect. So there you go. Someone says New Mexico is a desert for auditors. We are lonely out here. Kinetic Audit says, I always ask police if they had interactions with auditors in recent past, and they all say not really. Is that a lie? I would suspect so, because especially if they're rookies, if they're newer law enforcement officers or deputies. Let me let you guys on a little secret here. And I've had conversations off camera that I will never disclose who, but I've had conversations with law enforcement where they say, yeah, we watch your videos. The newer guys, the younger guys, they pretty much all watch these videos and they love it. They think it's freaking hilarious. But they'll never say that because usually they're wearing body cameras and they don't want to say things that might cost them their job, you know? So just FYI, that's how most younger cops feel about audits. They know what's going on, but they usually won't they don't want to get into it. They don't want to even acknowledge most of the time. If it's getting too personal, if it's like a personal question or something, they don't want to really go there. But lately I've experienced quite a few, especially like your younger law enforcement officers. They come right out. They already have their business card ready to go. Actually, just 2 days ago, the same day where that guy assaulted me in Ocala. So I did a few audits. I'm going to release one of them tomorrow. Another dispensary I was at in Ocala had another really interesting experience. But anyways, the cop that showed up was a younger guy. He was like in his 20s, and he already had his business card ready to go with the case or the CAD number on there. He had his name and his badge number, and he handed it to me right after he educated everyone involved. That was like one of the most perfectly well done responses I ever saw from law enforcement. And it's usually the younger guys. And there's some sergeants and stuff, supervisors that I spoke to that love our videos and support it as well. Of course, they're not going to announce it while they're, in the middle of their career, but I'm not going to be the one to disclose that for them. So if you come to me with anything, you remain anonymous unless you specify otherwise. So if you are, it doesn't matter who you are, even if you're law enforcement, even if you work for the government in any way, shape, or form, you can come to me with your leaks, or if you want to be a whistleblower, if you want to share information with me. I won't give away your identity or anything that would lead back to you. And another thing too, it's regarding law enforcement, the ones who really despise what we do as First Amendment journalists or auditors or activists, the administration for these police departments don't like us most of the time, I would say, because they're the ones doing the cleanup. They're the ones that have to protect, their own and deal with PR related stuff. So yeah, so when a video goes out that is damning to that department or that county or what have you, they don't like us. But that's because their jobs are a lot hard. They actually put some more effort into doing their jobs. Because back then, when cameras weren't so much of a thing, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, their jobs were much easier. They painted the narrative and they directed it and maintained whatever narrative that was in their best self-interest for self-preservation purposes. Not anymore, not with cameras around. Looking Glass says, glad the police are waking up now, knowing that they can't get away with their crap. Yeah, that's for sure. Oh, wow. We got a 10 from Don Albee. Thank you for the $10. Please leave this live up a bit. I just came in, want to see update on the guy. Yeah, just briefly, the guy in the thumbnail, the one who harassed, stalked, and assaulted me the other day in the video that I uploaded yesterday morning with the green shirt on, he has been fired from his job. The idiot got himself fired because he was wearing his uniform shirt. I didn't pick it up at the time. I didn't really notice that was his uniform. I didn't even think about it. But yeah, apparently he was wearing his uniform shirt with his employer right on it. And the internet did its work and on their own accord, and basically found out, exactly where that was. Got a hold of his employer. The employer fired him, and his employer actually responded to the emails that some people were sending there, saying that he's been fired, and then they copy and pasted the violation of the policy that got him fired. So that's essentially it. He got some poetic justice there. It's not over yet, though. I'm still gonna press charges. I tried already to press charges with Marion County Sheriff's Office, and the deputy I spoke to was a real ass. He said, "Send me the clip of the alleged assault. I'll take a look at it." I sent it to him right away. Within an hour, he calls me back and says, "Yeah, we're not going to do anything with that." He goes, "If you have any questions, you can ask me questions." And I started asking him questions, and then he had to go all of a sudden. So that's Marion County. Marion, Marion County Sheriff's Office. I'm going to have to reach back out to him, see if I can talk. I'm going to talk to somebody else, and I'm going to show him the statute it reminds me, I need to pull up the statute here. All right, so let's look this up real quick. Florida statute for assault. Okay, so let's see. Based on reports from April 2023, blah, 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 blah. Hold on a second. No, I don't want examples. I want the actual definition. Hold on a sec. Let's pull up ChatGPT. That might be a little better. What is the exact assault charge statute for the state of Florida? All right, so it's Florida statute 784-11. It says, an assault is an intentional unlawful threat by word or act to do violence to the person of another, coupled with an apparent ability to do so, and doing some act which creates a well-founded fear in such other person that such violence is imminent. That is the definition from the statute on assault for the state of Florida, which was clearly what this idiot did. Thank you for the 5. Anthony Cardenas says, we appreciate everything you do. Stay safe out there. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. So yeah, from this statute, he gave me an unlawful threat. He said, I'm going to smash your face, or I'm going to beat you up, or something to that effect, that he was going to do violence against me. He clearly said that right before he straight up charged directly at me. And he got right in my face and was using fighting words and phrases like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And he starts, putting his camera like literally in my face. I mean, people are always saying auditors put our cameras in people's faces. No, people come and put their freaking faces in our camera. And he literally was putting his camera in my face and getting up in my grill and shit. And, I had every right to defend myself. The only reason why I didn't is because that first part of the Florida statute on assault, I didn't hear him. It didn't register for some reason that he said he was going to bring violence against me. I missed that somehow. I knew he said something. I knew he had said something, and I knew that what he said wasn't nice, but I didn't really catch what he had said because he was charging at me like as he was saying it or right after he said it. So that caught the better of my attention, and I just was focused on that. So, but he never touched me. So it's not a case of battery. There's no battery involved here. It's assault. And I made that very clear to the law enforcement deputy that I spoke to. And he said, he was trying to make it about battery. I said, bro, like I said, it's not battery, it's assault. You understand they're two separate charges, right? So I'm going to have to follow up on that and then let you guys know what happens. So there you go. Marion County Sheriff's Office. Got to hold them accountable too. There you go. So those of you just coming in, that's what's going on with that. I'm still dealing with the charge with Polk County. That's in the beginning stages still. The arraignment that was scheduled for April 16th was canceled. So now that I've hired this really, really good attorney that I have named Jerry, he had that canceled. We put a plea in for not guilty, and we have a court date sometime in May coming up for like some kind of pretrial hearing thing. So I haven't spoken to my attorney yet since that's been on the docket. So I need to ask him about that before I speak on it. I don't really know what that means or what that entails. So yeah, if you haven't seen that video, if you haven't seen that video where I was never officially trespassed and had to deal with the cowboy hat security guard. It's been said before, if you're dealing with law enforcement and they're wearing a cowboy hat, that's where you really need to watch out. They probably have that good old boy network going on there where they just kind of do whatever the hell they want. Reed Hale says, when are you and FAPA going to do a collaboration? Well, we were supposed to do a collaboration during that time when, right after he had proposed to his now Mrs. FAPA. Congratulations, Johnny, on that, by the way. It was a pleasure to meet you again. So I had met Johnny 2 other times prior to that, and he was trusting enough to, ask me to basically be his videographer. That was a real honor, and I was nervous because I didn't want to screw it up, And what's funny, I don't think FAPA would mind me saying this, but thank you for the 5, GRP Dad God. Thank you so much. But right before, leading up to the time when FAPA, Johnny was going to propose to Mrs. FAPA, now Mrs. FAPA, I was out there on the beach setting. I met up with his photographer, his professional photographer, who was there with her husband, who's also part of like the business. He does the lighting and stuff, and then she does the actual like taking the pictures and everything. So I met up with them, and we were like planning where we were going to stand, where we were going to, how I was going to hide. So it was really fun. And I had to go back out to my car because Johnny's like texting me and texting all of us, like we're, everything that's going on. So we're like 007 style, like ready to make sure we execute this thing, as planned. And I had to go back out to my car because Johnny wanted me to use the mobile setup that I use for my audits with the microphone, because I was just going to use my phone. And he's like, oh no, bro, use the one with the microphone. So I'm like, all right, I got to go back out to my car. And out of all the times I could have gone out to my car, Mr. and Mrs. FAPA were driving by, and I just happened to be walking by, and I'm in the middle of texting Johnny, and he goes, dip. And I like put my hat down, and I like look at, I kept walking past my car to go like out to the main road. And thank God Mrs. FAPA did not see me. Oh my gosh. I almost blew it for his proposal. That would have been terrible, but it didn't. She didn't see it. She wasn't paying attention. She was talking to him, or she was looking in the other way or something. And, he was talking to her, and I was like on the opposite side of where her head was turned towards him. So I guess I was on that side of the car. But anyway, that was a close call. Too close. Where was I going with this? Oh, I was supposed to do a collaboration with him like within the next couple of days, and I got sick, like really sick. I was in my hotel room later that night after the proposal. And I it hit me like a freight train. I just felt really bad and under the weather. So I just, like around 3:00 in the morning in my hotel room, I just packed up my gear and I got the hell out of there and started driving like all the way back home. And yeah, it was bad for like the next 24, 48 hours. But yeah, we were supposed to have a collaboration. Don't worry though. Don't worry. I'm sure there will be other opportunities. We'll do some collabs together. Do I have a merch store? Not anymore. Maybe I'll bring it back. I will bring it back. I just don't know when. But Just depends on how much, support I get and how much I'm making through monetizations and how much that's growing. And we'll see. We'll definitely revisit that. Oh, we've got Gator Security Constitution in the house. He's one of the few that I've gone out and audited with. I haven't released that video yet, but Gator Security and I, we met outside of Rachel's Steakhouse for like for my third revisit, and we actually got some pretty good footage out there. I haven't released it yet, but Gator was out there with me. He's a trained fighter, and he's like, "Hey, man," he's like, "I watch your stuff. I've got a black belt and this, that, and the other. And, I could be your bodyguard technically." And, he's like, "I'd love to go out and audit with you." So that was one of the few occasions I actually went out and met with someone that I had never met with before. And it turned out pretty good. So he's in here. He says, "No, Polk County sheriffs do not have body cameras. That's why we need to start to petition them to get them." Yeah, absolutely. Polk County is out of control. And they can get away with it because there's no accountability. They don't have body cameras. I shouldn't say all of Polk County. I know Lakeland police, I think they have body cameras, for example. There are pockets of Polk County where law enforcement do use body cameras. But it's places like Davenport and I think Winter Haven. I'm not sure. There's certain, basically all the counties that are under the direct that are under the direct, what's the word I'm looking for? Supervision of Grady Judd, that he has authority over. I think it's those that don't have the body cams, because Sheriff Grady Judd has gone on TV and has said that he adamantly refuses. I'm not quoting him verbatim, but he adamantly refuses to get body cameras for his law enforcement officers. Crazy. Yet he likes to go on camera and violate people's Sixth Amendment right all the time in these press conferences that he has. 901 News Now says, "Have you ever audited the Orlando attraction areas?" No, I have not. I never thought about that. But again, that's not necessarily a place that I would have a desire to audit, simply because you got families and people there enjoying their time. Again, I don't mind auditing places where people are simply going there to do a transaction and leave. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't see anything. There's nothing wrong with going to anywhere and looking or pointing your camera from a sidewalk. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, I personally I'd rather focus on the other stuff. Have you thought about helping find Ming Ling? Yeah, he's referring to my massage parlor audits. Yeah, I like going outside massage parlors because, you get these sketched out people that are, probably there for, an illegal reason. They really don't like the cameras. Those are interesting. They definitely feel they should have expectation of privacy. Obviously, they really think they do, but nope. That's why I go to those places to let them know, oh, you don't have any privacy in public. They're mutually exclusive words. You get public and private. They don't go together. You can create your own privacy in public as far as your own image, but if you make a conscious decision to leave your place of residence and walk out in public, you don't have privacy. Anyone who thinks you do, if you think you do, then there's a problem. Yeah, I do believe that Grady Judd is crooked as hell. Absolutely. I agree with that statement somebody put in the chat. He doesn't like accountability, doesn't believe in transparency. He's what I would call a tyrant for sure. There's too many people that like that guy. I can understand why, but because I used to like Grady Judd too, but that's because I didn't know much about him at the time. I just heard him talk about the Second Amendment, and what I heard years ago, I thought was pretty good, and that's why I liked him. But when you actually do a little bit of research, just a little bit, you'll find things that are like, whoa, okay, this guy doesn't believe in the First Amendment. I bet you could get some good content outside the club scene on International Drive there. And yeah, I thought about that. I don't live too far from there. International Drive in Florida is a highly touristy area. You get a lot of people from other countries, like from the UK and European countries and whatever, coming over here and spending like 10 days or more going from theme park to excursion, dinner show to dinner show. Yeah, there's a nightlife down there as well. So that would be interesting to go stand out in front of. See what else we got here. And if you haven't heard, if you're just coming in, guys, tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time over on John Felix's channel, BAT, baby, Bay Area Transparency is going to be interviewed by John Felix, the legend. Someone for the $2, me-CD3LQ says, I love Grady Judd. Okay. Thanks for the $2. I totally support people's right to have an opinion. I think I would like to understand why you like Grady Judd. Why do you love Grady Judd? Is it because of what he said about the Second Amendment in the past? If so, I can understand why. But haven't you heard about his hatred for the First Amendment or his railing against the First Amendment and violating everyone's Sixth Amendment, right? When he goes on his press conferences. And actually recently he put something out about how he doesn't recommend people doing open carry now that it's legal again in Florida. He actually, he promotes concealed carry, and the reasons have to do with like being more strategic, like in case you're in a scenario where you actually have to use your firearm, but not people don't carry around their firearms specifically only to, fight back in certain situations, but also to showcase their rights, exercise their rights, and put on display what they're carrying in case, some tyrannical government is thinking about violating his or her rights. They can see the firearm, be like, oh, maybe I'll think twice about violating that person's rights because I don't want to find myself being defended against for violations of constitutional rights. Just saying. See what else we got here. Sandra Garland, welcome to Gold. I guess you were gifted a membership. Is that what that means, or did you sign up to be a member? I'm interested in what that means when you have somebody highlighted and it says welcome to Gold, welcome to becoming a new member. I don't know if that means they just signed up themselves or if they were gifted that. I don't know. Again, I'm new to all this membership stuff, so you guys got to educate me. Somebody says, please audit a preschool. No, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to audit anywhere where it's like just a place for kids to go enjoy themselves. No thanks. Now, I'm not saying I'm against like going to places where kids might be. I mean, you might have kids out on a freaking sidewalk. They're everywhere, but I wouldn't go to a place that is strictly like, for kids, go out and play and watch. Somebody, the same person who just donated $2, me-CD3IQ. Change your YouTube name. That would be my my suggestion, so it'd be easier to call you out here. Thank you for the $5. He or she says, I heard you on the Frauditor Troll channel. Frauditor Troll says you're a goofy dude. Okay, coming from a goofy dude, I guess I'll take it. Doesn't affect me one way or the other. That guy doesn't like freedom, so I take that with take what he says with a grain of salt. John Felix is answering my question about that member. He says she signed up for Gold membership. Okay, so thank you, Sandra Garland, for signing up for Gold. I really appreciate that. So I've got 3 tiers. There's the lowest tier, which is silver. The mid tier is Gold, and then the highest tier is, I want to say, platinum, I think. And the difference basically is how much you're paying. How much are you willing to support the channel in an affordable way per month? The highest is $15. The lowest is $4, and the mid one I think is $8. So it's really just a matter of how much do you want to support the channel in an affordable, consistent way. And thank you to all those who became a member or are considering to become a member. Thank you so much for that. Again, another $2 from ME-CD3IQ says audit a daycare center. No, I'm not going to audit a daycare center. I'd prefer not to. I won't. No, I'm not gonna. I'm never gonna audit a daycare center. I'm never gonna audit a funeral. None of that is that. You'll never see that. It's never gonna happen. But I will audit. I don't know if I can say this out loud because YouTube might try to restrict my video if I say the A word. The A clinic, the place where people take their unborn to do something. I've audited those before. I've actually got like at least 2 videos that I have not released to you guys yet that I did a little while ago. They're bangers, man. They're absolute bangers. But I know that when I post it, I'm going to lose a lot of subscribers. It's not going to stop me though. It's not going to stop me from posting it, but I know that a lot of people are not going to like that at all. And I've already audited places like that already. And I've already uploaded at least 2 videos, but I've got like another 2 or 3 videos that I haven't released yet. And they're even better than the ones I've already shared with you guys. There's so much interaction and activity. Oh my gosh. Wow. You guys are, if you can get, if you disagree with the whole pro-life thing, if you can get past that and watch the video, I mean, it's just action packed and it's so meaningful. I mean, my intention out there is actually deeper than just doing an audit. My intention is also to try to maybe hopefully convince those who are there to do the thing, delay it long enough to maybe change their mind or just not do it. I know a guy that used to do that for a living. He didn't make any money off doing that, but he sat out in front of those places in a lawn chair on the sidewalk, and he talked to thousands of parents who were thinking about doing that to their child. And later, quite a few, I can't put a number on it, but I heard hundreds of mothers or families have gone back to this individual and said, thank you for making a stand. Thank you for talking to me and warning me about certain things before going in and doing this thing, because they're holding their child and then they hand their child over to I forget what's his name. Anyway, let's just call him Mike for the time being. These mothers handing over their child to Mike and said, here's the child that you helped me save. I was about to end the life of this child. Thanks for the 2 again. It's homicide. Yeah, it absolutely is. I'm a strong believer in the right to life. That includes babies. Okay. I know I'm getting a little off topic here. Some of you may be thinking, oh, let's not get into politics. Look, it should not be a political issue. This is a life issue. This is life and death. This is the most sacred of life. I totally believe in at least having the conversations with people, especially if they're making a decision to go do what they're going to go do at these places, these mills, which end thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of lives every single year or month, probably month on a monthly basis. And you can't tell me it's justified just because you think 1% of the time they have a justification for it. You just can't convince me of that. So anyway, expect some of those to come out. But I'm not trying to shove any kind of indoctrination down your throats. I'm not trying to get you guys to become pro-life. I'm trying to, if you do, great. But if not, then, I won't hold it against you. I hope you don't hold it against me for putting my moral views out there that I think go beyond politics. So don't hate me for that. Thank you. I look funny without my glasses on. Okay. I don't know. I think I'm a good looking guy. What do you think? Let's see. John Felix says, I'm more worried about police violence against peaceful people than fraud that the government has fully funded agents. Let me read that again. I'm more worried about police violence against peaceful people than fraud that the government has fully funded agencies to control fraud. Okay. Any updates? Okay. Nate Vegas says, any update on dude from Rachel's? That's Ginger Snap. Get it right. His name's Ginger Snap. At least that's the name we coined for him. But he's still under the gun. He still is in the process of being held accountable. When the Castleberry Police Department investigator was investigating this, she said they would likely charge him with assault and battery, I think she said. I could be wrong. It's one or the other, maybe both. It's got to be both. But he definitely was being charged with battery because he did make contact, unwanted touching with me. But obviously there's assaults there multiple times from that incident. And I know that the state attorney's office is investigating it. And I've actually talked to the person who's been assigned to the case, and it definitely sounds like they're going to pursue stuff with that. And I don't know what stuff that's going to be. I don't know if they're going to change what they're going to be going after him for, whether that be take away charges or add charges. I don't know. It could go either way. I don't see how they could take away the charges that the Castleberry Police Department detective has already believes is going to be the case. So I don't really have any more of an update outside of that, but I will keep you guys updated on that. In fact, there's probably an update on the docket that I haven't even looked at yet. So I'll have to look at that here pretty soon. Actually, you know what? Let's look it up. I'm going to look it up right now. Let's look up what's going on with old Ginger Snap here. Excuse me. I hope I'm not getting sick again. I just got over it like a couple weeks ago. No, it's going to take me too long I'll give you guys an update, I promise. But as far as the other guy that got a baseball bat, one of the two people that I ever pepper sprayed was the guy, kind of a bigger guy. He got out of his, when I say bigger guy, like he was just bigger than me, like twice my size. He got out of his truck to come right at me. I pepper sprayed him. He went back to his car or his truck. He got a baseball bat. So he's been charged with assault with a deadly weapon. And there was another charge too. So last time I spoke to the state attorney's office about that case, I was told that they're thinking about maybe like his lawyer, they're thinking about putting together a plea deal, some kind of plea deal where he might get like 2 years probation and have to seek either anger management or like a psych evaluation. And I said, I'd like to see the psych evaluation. I don't care so much about the anger management. I don't know how helpful or effective that is, but the psych evaluation, definitely anybody who's got a problem with being recorded and would take it to great lengths to try to bring violence on somebody definitely needs a psych evaluation. And he definitely needs probation for an extended amount of time. I don't know if he's going to get any jail time because he doesn't have any like previous history, but I'll keep you guys updated on that as I get him. RJ says, remember the guy that covered his license plate on the blue FJ Toyota that was too convenient? He's definitely done that before. 100% criminal if you ask me. Yeah, that was outside of a dispensary as well. There was this guy in this vehicle that he literally pulled his shirt up like this over his head. He looked ridiculous. He had these glasses on. He literally had everything covered, and then he went through great lengths to cover his license plate on his vehicle. Caught that on camera too. That was interesting. Crap. I hope I'm not getting sick. Inland Auditing Media is here. I am free, aka Gandalf. Is it Gandalf the White or Gandalf the Gray? I can't remember. AKA Steve McStevenson is in here. And he says, wow, that guy doubled down on stupid and lost his job. Yikes. Yeah, that was awkward, right? As you would say, that was awkward. Thanks, Eyes on Margate, for the $2. Lady who escaped out back door plus lady who puked. Yeah. So yeah, that was an interesting one too. The black lady who attacked me, like straight up battered repeatedly and assaulted me. That's another case where she got away with it. Basically, she got away with what she did because law enforcement neglected to do their job correctly. There was some kind of a level of negligence or whatever they call it, a dereliction of duty, whatever. You see how hard it is to hold people accountable after the fact. There's so many hula hoops you got to jump through. And then related to that same incident with the lady who escaped out the back door, yeah, she one of the employees, when she was questioned about it by the detective I was working with, really good detective actually, by the way, she got so nervous. She goes, "Oh my God, hold on!" She runs to the bathroom and hurls. That was great. That was on body cam. That was uploaded on my channel as well. If you haven't seen that. Crazy male Karen from the other day got me sick. Yeah, probably. He got really close to my face. Yeah, it's probably why I might be getting sick if I'm getting sick. Did I miss any super chats? No. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome, RJ, for reading that. No problem. Thank you for your participation. I appreciate that. Somebody, True Patriot, says the other ginger with the beard looked like Ginger Snap's brother. Yeah, he definitely did. There's something about gingers that don't like me pointing a camera in their general direction. Got to watch out around gingers when your name is Zach or Liberty Troll for sure. It's Gandalf the Great. That's what it was. So I Am Free is Gandalf the Great. That's right. He is great. Brilliant. Rose Winter says termination equals limiting liability. Yeah. That's, definitely what I would suspect is the real reason why the male Karen was fired from his job for making a complete ass of himself, getting his panties in a wad and overreacting over nothing. I was just looking in that general direction. I mean, come on. I was just looking over there. Really? Gonna make a big stink about that? Start calling me a PDF file and an abuser of medical patients, and people just assume the worst. It's just hilarious. People are like in love with their outrage. They're in love with feeling like they've got a white knight for people and makes them feel important, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. He really did get fired. He definitely did. I have the receipts to prove it. Multiple people I've seen in the comments of that video that I posted yesterday morning of that incident. They were multiple people were saying that they reached out via email and by phone and all received the same answer. And somebody forwarded me an email too proactively, and I read it earlier in the stream. So I wanted to show you guys so I could just like further prove it to you, but I couldn't figure out OBS earlier. So yeah, whatever. Muck Bike says my grandson is autistic. He completes me. Love that kid. Yeah. Like I said earlier, I've got my younger son he's high functioning autistic, and his little quirks and everything are the sweetest. He's a sweetheart. Both my kids are sweethearts, but they, my little one who has autism is just as cute as can be. Adorable. Someone's asking me if me and Press NH Now are going to do a video. Yeah, Press NH Now, I've seen him in the comments, and he and I have conversed a little bit back and forth, and he's invited me to whenever I'm up there in his area to let him know. We'll do a collaboration video or videos. Yeah, I would see that being a really a great thing. Getting together with him, and that would be very interesting for sure. For sure. Gosh, I'm getting sick, aren't I? Sassy Kisses has an adult child, 36 years old, has autism, lives alone, and is a great guy. Yeah, that's cool. So he's independent. There's different tiers, or like there's like the spectrum for autism is so vast, that there's people that have autism that you would never know, and then there's people with autism that have more issues or challenges than others. I think my son, he doesn't have like that many challenges. He stims. For those of you who don't know what stimming is, it's basically like when they get excited, they like their hand does this, or they kind of like jiggle their arm or something like that. It's called stimming. Other than that, you can't really you can't tell with my son. Great. I'm getting sick. Anything else? We've got almost 700 people in here. I think this is one of the biggest live streams I've had in recent time, and I want to address anything that you guys have on your mind. So if you have any questions, let me know. I pretty much went over the updates with the male Karen from yesterday who assaulted me. I am going to hold him accountable. He's already been fired from his job. So that right there is already, arguably for some could be enough, but I'm going to start holding people accountable, man. I'm done, being Mr. Nice Guy. Like, I let that lady go that I pepper sprayed in self-defense. I let her go because I felt bad. And I thought that she got enough justice with the pepper spray, but then she went and attacked her boss a month later, and she got arrested and charged with battery. That video is coming out soon. This is why you got to hold these people accountable. They don't learn. They just don't learn. They use every little victim card or card in their privilege box to try to get out of whatever it is they need to be held accountable for. And that's why they keep doing what they're doing. They keep doing bad stuff to other people because they get away with it. You gotta stop letting people get away with it. I'm not gonna allow it. So Hemi Cuda says, keep up the great work, Zach. Your auditing style is my favorite. Thank you. Why is it your favorite? I'm interested. Yeah, Sassy Kisses says stimming equals coping. Yeah. I just say he gets flappy when he's happy. He's only like 6 years old, so little kids kind of do random stuff, so you would never know he has autism. I'm hoping that it's not really noticeable as he gets older. I'm going through the comments here. Cyber warfare. Hey, LT, would you travel to Indiana to do a First Amendment audit? I'm a big fan to meet you. Yeah, I've said it before, and I appreciate the offer or the invitation. I would love to travel. I just can't afford it. I would only ask if there's someone who wants me to go somewhere. If I can't afford it right now. So the only way I could make that happen is if the airfare were covered. So if you're willing to cover the airfare for those of you who want me to come to your neck of the woods and you're in another state outside of Florida, if you can cover the airfare, I can cover, the hotel, the rental car, all that stuff. I think, I'll figure it out. But with the airfare, yeah, I'll need help with that for sure. I'm not talking about like $5 towards it. I'm talking about like the entire airfare covered, because airfare is like what, usually $300 to $1,000 depending. I just, can't be doing that unfortunately yet, but I would love to. I would love to do that. Let me know where you want me to go. I'll go there. If you can get me there, I'll be there. Let's see. Sorry. Gator Security says, got to people need people need to be held accountable. Stop letting them off with an apology. They have to learn to keep their hands. Yeah, they got to learn to keep their hands to themselves. Yeah, for sure. That's exactly why I'm actually going to charge the grandma that I sauced. I'm going to charge her because I didn't charge her at the time, but I'm going to charge her now based on the pattern that I've discovered that she has done prior to my interaction with her, and then what she has done since then, within a month, more or less, from the incident where I pepper sprayed her in self-defense. She attacked someone else. She didn't learn a lesson. So with that new information, I'm going to have to charge her. True Patriot asks, that's a good question. It says, how did you come up with Truth Trigger Troll? It's awesome and definitely helps you stand out. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It really has like a double meaning to it. It's like one of those things. So when I was trying to think of like a slogan or motto, I was like, I had a kind of a tough time thinking of something, because you got to understand, before I started my YouTube channel, Liberty Troll, before I started becoming an activist, I actually, before all that, before I knew of auditing, before I, watched audit videos or anything of that nature, I was actually, Liberty Troll was set aside to be like a merch store where I was going to make t-shirts and stuff that were going to be like very offensive, like things that, what's that brand? 9 Line Apparel, I think is what it's called. I used to wear 9 Line Apparel, but the sayings or slogans and stuff on those t-shirts are very mainliner, you know what I mean? And they're not nearly as offensive enough to get the points across. And so I was like, I need to create like a trollish kind of like apparel store and just go all out, and just mean what I say what I mean, and say it in the most offensive freaking way. That's what it was going to be. That's what Liberty Troll was supposed to be. And then I found out about these audits and everything. And I thought, hey, Liberty Troll sounds kind of fitting for that. So I renamed my YouTube channel to Liberty Troll, and I started making, and then when I started thinking of like a slogan or motto, I was like, I couldn't think of anything, but I used to say, get it, got it, good. I used to say that a lot. I used to say, get it, got it, good. And I was like, well, I'm out sharing the truth. The truth I spread is going to be done, I guess, in a very raw kind of way that it's going to be triggering to a lot of people, because a lot of people are cream puffs and entitled idiots who have no idea what they're talking about. And then the troll part, Liberty Troll. Well, what do? I'm trolling, or at least I'm trolling people who are Karens. So the Karens I'm trolling, the people who are taking themselves way too seriously, you know what I mean? Like the people who have no sense of humor and they take themselves way too seriously. Those are the people I'm trolling. And then the other double meaning of that for the Truth Trigger Troll part is I just kind of adopt the word troll because that's what people are going to call me who don't like freedom. So, okay, if that's the case, I'm a troll. So Truth Trigger Troll. Does that make sense? It's kind of like multiple meanings. And there you go. I hope that makes sense. I hope that answers your question. Let me know if you think there's some cooler meaning that can be derived from that or deduced from that. I'm interested to hear your thoughts and what you thought it meant. Thank you for the 50. Wow. From Brad Hespy. He says, I watch and like all your videos. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for the 50. I really appreciate that. I can't like it for some reason. I can heart it, but I can't like it. That's weird. Anyways, thank you so much for the 50. Thank you everyone who's contributed. Thank you for all those who became a member. I really appreciate it. It goes a long way. This is my source of income. It is my source of income. That's it. I, used to work full-time as as an outside salesperson. I've done management. I used to work for Enterprise Rent-A-Car once upon a time. So, no stranger to hard work. I've done a lot. I've done my time. I've done a lot of different things and did really well. Got promoted up through the ranks and stuff. So I don't think I could, now after I've been doing this for a while and certain sales jobs where I have so much freedom, I don't think I could ever go back to a 9 to 5. I'm not throwing rocks at people who do work 9 to 5. I understand, you got to do what you got to do. But hey, in America, if you can be your own person and do what you really like to do, more power to you. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to do this for as long as I possibly can. I'm looking at this. I'm saying this from a business standpoint, but I love doing this. It's a civic duty, really, at the end of the day. But if I can make a living doing this, and really that way I can focus on it and make this all that I do, and also be able to keep up with, public records and, editing and pumping out videos as often as I do, it's because of you guys. And I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this possible. So you've given me this platform to do this sort of thing. And, I want to get you guys quality things. I want to do a good job in doing what I'm doing. I want to be consistent. I want to give everyone the benefit of the doubt that I come across. Ignorance is expected. There's so many dumb people in our society. There's a lot of people who don't know their rights, don't understand, don't care to understand. But, we deal with those people with a grain of salt. We always start off respectful. And if they want to escalate it, you can tell. You can just tell. Some people you can't de-escalate. They are trying hard to escalate it. And then you put them in their place, right? But you do it within the confines of the law. And you also got to be very careful. Even if somebody is transgressing towards you and is breaking the law, assaulting or whatever, you gotta be smart, especially when you're doing this kind of work that I'm doing. It's risky. Usually the odds are against you or stacked against you. That's why I'm abundantly careful about how I respond to these sorts of situations that involve violence. It's not that I can't or don't or won't do it. It's just, and I have done it when I've been in that situation where hands actually went on me. Or it was just very clear in the time where I was registering, like what was being said, and it was checking off the boxes with the assault definition in the state of Florida. But if I don't catch everything and I'm not sure, I'm just not going to cross that line, because I don't want to be on the hook for any kind of charges that could be used against me if I slip up or it's too much of a gray area that could cause me some issues. So I make sure that there's no gray area before I act on those sorts of scenarios. And that's why you don't often see me pepper spray and that sort of thing. But if I have to, and I know at the time, and I caught all the elements of assault and or battery, you better believe I'm going to respond accordingly. So I guarantee this is not going to be the last time. People are crazy. It's going to happen again. It's just, deal with it as it comes. So there you go. Somebody says Cult News, KULT News, I think is how you say it, is from Ohio. Yeah, I think he is from Ohio. I don't think he lives there anymore, though. I think he got sick, and I heard he got sick and tired of the tyranny up there. I went up there not too long ago, about a year and a half ago or so, and it was pretty bad. Man, I'm definitely getting a little sick. What's up, Motivational Matt? I see that you are a member. So there's another member. Thank you for becoming a member. Tommy V, another member, one of the best mods ever. Thank you for posting my email there, the Proton email. It's basically identical to my Gmail, except it's at proton.me. So thank you for posting that. That's where you can send your tips and leads. That's where I would prefer to get most of your emails. That way it's free from government overreach. Gmail, they cuck for the government. They'll just hand over whatever as soon as the government subpoenas or ask for it. They're like, oh, here you go. So we have a 10. Wow, $10. Thank you so much from Resid Bureau of Toilets. New fan. I really enjoy your work up there with LIA. Ooh, wow. That's a compliment. Denver Metro Audits. Cool. Leroy Truth and NH. Is that Press NH? Yeah, Press NH now. Thank you. That's quite a compliment. All those guys are great, are excellent. Like I said, Long Island Audit, always have a special place in my heart for that guy, for that man, because it was really his videos that kind of informed me about, indirectly informed me about what all this is about. So he says, hopefully you can collaborate with everyone mentioned. Yeah, I appreciate that. If I ever go up there to Colorado, I'll definitely be hanging out with Denver Metro Audits, DMA. Met Leroy at the Audit Palooza. And then LIA I met as well up there. This was the very last one this past October. Haven't met Press NH now yet, but he's not too far away. So when I make my way up there towards like North Florida, I'll have to get with him. We'll definitely, we've already talked about it, so it's going to happen at some point. Sue Braccio, I think as I say it, says, Zach, truth, trigger, troll. If you think about it, trigger refers the Second Amendment. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that would kind of fit into that if I start doing Second Amendment audits as well, you know? The Hercules sent 5 Liberty Troll gift memberships. That's awesome. So 5 of you, I guess that means 5 random people in the chat just got gifted memberships. That's cool. That, I didn't hear about that. I didn't know what that meant until today. So thank you guys for educating me on that. Did I miss anybody in the chat? Is there any of you auditors in here that I missed? I apologize if I did. See, we have almost 800 people in here. Nice. We have another 2 from ME-CD3IQ. Dude, you got to change your name so it's a little easier to just roll off the tongue. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, he says, I love Frauditor Troll. Okay. Yeah, I already gathered that. I think we already gathered that from what you said. And that's cool. You can like him. I mean, he's not, I don't think Frauditor Troll is an idiot either. I said earlier in this live, I don't think somebody mentioned DirectD and I talked about him for a little bit. I don't think he's an idiot. I don't think Frauditor Troll is an idiot either. I think specifically about Frauditor Troll, I'm not combining DirectD in this, but Frauditor Troll doesn't like freedom. I don't think he likes freedom. I think he's all about making money. This is all about like just keeping the haters out there, paying the bills and watching his videos. I think he knows better. I think he knows that what we're doing is completely lawful and everything. I just think he has a vendetta against some of us. And it's kind of just, he's following that same narrative for consistency purposes. I don't think he's an idiot though. I should debate Frauditor Troll for another 2. Well, maybe with enough of these super chats, I just might have to. Just kidding. He's actually invited me on his channel for a debate. I would debate him if he wanted to. I mean, whatever. I don't think it would be too difficult to overcome whatever arguments or objections he has or contentions he has with what we do. Yeah, it would be an interesting conversation. I would do it. He's invited me. I don't think he likes me anymore, though. Or he never did, but I don't think he wants anything to do with me because I put a copyright strike on his channel, rightfully so. But I did tell him I would never do that again. But he doesn't believe me. He doesn't trust me. So whatever it is, what it is. What do you, Translucent Crew is a member. Nice. What do you make of the OG auditors like SGV? Is that, how do you say it? I know who SGV is. San Joaquin, right? San Joaquin I can't remember. Anyway, so yeah, I think they're great. I think I love our community, even though it's diverse in the true meaning of diverse. You know, you've got meaning that they have there's so many different personalities and characters that are just kind of, there's so many likable people in this community, that, really make it unique to really anything else that I've seen out there. But yeah, if you were to ask me what I think about these people, I like them all. I mean, I don't have anything against anybody. I try not to get involved in like people's drama stuff either, but I'll debate like points. I'll debate like ideas and stuff. You know what I mean? So I would debate almost anybody on anything to do with auditing. That wouldn't bother me. I think it'd be pretty easy. I can't imagine an argument that would be too difficult to prepare for and debate. Let's see. Jesse Gravio says, just joined. Can you give a summary of what happened to the green shirt Karen? Yeah, he was fired from his job. He got himself fired for being an idiot on camera wearing his uniform shirt, and the internet did its thing, and now he's out. So And then the other part of the update is that I'm going to be pressing charges against him. I've already tried, and Marion County Sheriff's Office denied me, at least the deputy that I spoke to. So I'm going to call back or go back maybe and record my interaction this time and talk to a supervisor and be like, how is this not assault? The state of Florida, how is it not assault? He didn't commit battery. That's different than assault, but he did commit assault for sure. Probably even stalking. A guy came back and just to harass me. I mean, another 5. Wow. From me-CD3IQ says Fraud Patrol is being sued by DMA and DMA has to pay legal fees. I don't know much about that. I was following it for a little while, but I really don't know what's going on there. But yeah, I am aware DMA is suing Fraud Patrol for DMCA related stuff. He's got he's pirated. My understanding is he's pirated so many videos from DMA and let his content run for extreme extended amounts of time without breaking it up and making it fair use and the true meaning of fair use. That was my understanding. Yeah, SJV, yeah, San Joaquin Valley Transparency. Thank you. That doesn't, for me, it doesn't roll off the tongue. That's why I kind of, have to go by his acronym there. Let's see here. Gator Security, whom I met and did an audit before, Security says, maybe you should do a morning coffee with Liberty Troll like Grady Judd does his morning coffee slandering people. Just a thought. Yeah, maybe. I think I might do that for my members. Members only. Members only. We'll do I already said we'll do a weekly members only live stream. And we'll do kind of like a morning coffee kind of thing. We'll figure it out. I'll talk to my members and see what they want to do. What else we got here? Translucent says, SGV said basically what you said, that in the end, attorneys don't actually care about the law. I don't know if that's a reference to something I said or not, but speaking of attorneys, when it comes to trying to find a good attorney, it's very difficult, especially if you're looking for a civil attorney in Florida. So if you know of any good civil rights attorneys, you let me know. That can work on contingency, of course, because I'm not rich. Let's see here. And I'm not doing pro se. I'm not doing it. Not doing pro se. Well, actually, I take that back. I might at some point do pro se civil stuff, but I'll never do I'll never represent myself in a criminal case. Unless I was arrested for existing on a sidewalk, I would go to court on my own. I wouldn't even hire an attorney for that. My defense would be public sidewalk, public sidewalk, case closed, public sidewalk. All right. Let's see. The Hercules, later all pizzas here. I don't blame you. RJ says we are lovers of liberty, and we shall have no qualms of watering the tree of liberty when need be. Second Amendment auditing says you should contact me so I can go with you out there, but I'll open carry. Yeah, kind of like what Preston H now. Are you the one who goes out with Preston H now and does that? If not, whatever. Yeah, we can get together. Send me an email. libertytroll.llc@proton.me. Proton.me. I know it's a little confusing. A lot of people don't know Proton Mail, but proton.me. Same, everything else is the same. Just got better security. It's encrypted and so on. Sandra Garland says, no, I joined level 2 of your memberships, which is gold status. It's $7.99 a month. Yeah. Thank you so much. That helps out a lot. That pays one of my bills. Thank you so much for that. If I didn't have child support that I had to pay, I'd have so much extra money. It's crazy. Crazy. Don't get offended when I say this, but I don't call child support. I call it mom support. And I don't say that to offend people. I say that because most of the time, most situations where fathers are paying child support, mom support, it's really unrighteous. It's really unconstitutional. And I think, morally speaking, I think, whichever parent leaves or whichever parent destroys the relationship or doesn't spend like any time with the children, they should contribute something financially, right? But I don't. But what the government does is they just use a formula. They use a calculation based on like simply how much time you have each week or how many overnights you have, and then like how many kids you have and all that kind of stuff. And what's the other factor? I can't remember, but it's just a generic formula. It's like who is the government to say how much it's going to cost, the parent to provide for their kids? That's up to the parent to decide, not the government. And then like if you're a dude and you're late on a payment or something, or your payment doesn't go through, they come after you. But if you're a mother and you don't pay your payment or whatever, like it's just whatever. And you have all this government assistance like TAMP, SNAP. A lot of them are playing the mom support game where they have 5 kids with 5 different baby mamas and they're collecting from all these different guys. And by the way, I think it's like 90 plus, like 94, 95, 96% of all parents in jail for child support related stuff are all men. That's it's kind of telling too. It feels like the family court system is corrupt as well, right? They're targeting the men. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. But if I didn't have to pay child support, mom support, then I'd be much better off for sure. Let's see here. Here's the deal. Did a video on FAPA. Yeah, I've seen him do 1 or 2 videos on him. He did a live stream a while back, and then he did I saw him do a video on like one of his dispensary audits involving law enforcement. Here's the deal. Brian's good, man. I've learned a few things from Brian by watching his videos. I used to be a hardcore like Trump supporter, and I don't dislike Trump, right? I think he's funny as hell, but and I don't disagree with everything that he has stood for starting back in 2016. I will say that our current president, I don't want to say his name too much because I don't want my video to be censored here by YouTube, because I feel like just saying his name, it causes restrictions. So our current sitting president, I think he screwed up. He screwed up, especially in the last year or so. But I will say that man who's our sitting president now is not the same man back in 2016. All right. I will say that, whether it's purpose or on accident, or if somebody got to him, I don't know, but I don't support him anymore. But I've learned quite a few things from the Here's the Deal channel from Brian. He makes some really good points, and some of the things he has said about the current administration has opened my eyes to some of the things that were going on even back then and in 2020 and before. So, so yeah, but for those of you who are wondering, I'm on the right for sure. I'm far right. I'm not right in the sense of the mainliners look at it. I'm like far right. I'm like on the right in the sense like what the right looked like back in the 50s. That's probably like where I stand back in the 40s or 50s on the right. I'm a dinosaur. I don't know, whatever. Old soul. But I can totally see why people like our current president. I see why they like him. I don't dislike him. I don't support him, and I don't call myself a supporter anymore. Sue says, Zach, the civil rights lawyer here on YouTube, was talking with a good civil rights lawyer from Florida. Well, I would like to know who that is. Send me an email, please. Any suggestions, any tips, any leads? Yeah, send it to my email. Otherwise, I'll forget from the chat, or if you even left me a comment, it would get lost in translation. I'd lose it and I'd forget. If you have any of that stuff that you need to communicate, please email it to me. All right. No, translucent. No, I don't want certain people with a certain skin color to sit in the back of the bus. No, I don't support that at all. That was on the left back then. You know, the KKK was started by the Democratic Party. I hope I didn't just cause a restriction on my channel by saying that. Let's see. Yeah, really look it up. There's a certain party that came up with that. Not a single Republican back then owned a slave in the South. Have I met Long Island Audit in real life? Yeah, I met him one time. Great guy. He's real. He's a real deal. I like him. He was gracious enough as well to do a video on my arrest, the only arrest I ever had as an activist since I became a journalist, First Amendment auditor, whatever you want to call me, activist. I had one arrest, and that was in Polk County, the same county that's trying to screw me over right now on this frivolous trespassing charge. And Sean was gracious enough to. I asked him if he would put a spotlight on it, and he did a whole video on it, and that meant a lot, and it was very helpful. So, great guy. Met him a real person, like I said, up there in Audit Palooza. You guys need to keep your eyes on the next one that's coming up, by the way. I'm sure John Felix is going to have some details. I'm sure Sean's going to talk about it. Garden State of Accountability, I can't talk right now. Leroy Truth. Keep your eyes on these guys. They're going to be talking about the next one probably coming up. I know that Long Island Audit wants to get more involved. He saw the value when he went to the last one. He's like, wow, this was great. We've got to keep this thing going. He's really all for it, and I think he really wants to take it to the next level. So keep your eyes on that. Audit Palooza. I want to see all your faces there. Everyone in the chat. I want to see you guys go there. Meet you guys. We got, what, 777 people in here right now? 777, baby. That's a good number. I'd be concerned if it said 666. Don't forget, John Felix. Tonight he's got a 8 p.m. Eastern Time interview with none other than Bay Area Transparency. My impression of him is BAT, baby. Good guy. Going to need a bigger venue. Yeah. I mean, we had a really nice sized venue from Larry Downs Jr. He the guy opened up his property to us the last 2 times we had this, and I went to both of those. And man, what a great venue. What a great guy. So Larry, if you're watching this, let us know who you are. Great guy. But yeah, it went so well that I think it's going to double, maybe triple in size this next time around. And I think it might happen in New York. I hope it does. Because I mean, if I'm going to have to drive 8 hours to Pensacola from where I live in Central Florida, I'd rather just get a plane ticket and go to New York, somewhere different. I've never been to New York, so I kind of personally want to just go there and let it. I hope it's there so I can go there for the first time. I was going to go last time I was able to go to like out of Florida, like to New York. I didn't go because it was in like around 2020, 2021 or whenever COVID was going on. And people were saying, this is not the time to come here. Not the time to go. So I did not go. Probably for the best. Let me see here. Second Amendment Auditing says, when you contact give me some time, a hand on making my channel look better when we go out to do some audits. Lunch and gas is on me. Appreciate that. Well, then drinks are on me then. I don't know if you drink, but I drink a good smoked old fashioned. Done right, it's got to be done right. Not that I don't do that chipped ice bullshit. It's got to be like the single big ice cube, like the circular or square, preferably the square. I know I'm picky, but it's got to have like the real cherries. You know what I'm talking about? I forget what you call them, like the dark cherries. One name for them is filthy cherries. You can get them on Amazon, and they're individually wrapped and stuff. And they're like, when you go to like a fancy bar and get a fancy drink, it's usually the type of cherries they use. I usually ask for extra cherries. I could just like take a bag of those into a movie theater and just like, snack on those all day. But yeah, if you ever hang out with me, got to get a smoked old fashioned somewhere, like somewhere, kind of somewhat fancier, does their drinks right. Surprisingly, and this is not a fancy place by any stretch of imagination, but Outback Steakhouse, they actually have a pretty good old fashioned. Pretty good old fashioned. Miller's has a pretty good old fashioned. Bonefish Grill has a good old fashioned. Those are just some of your like familiar chains that some of you most likely know of. And if you want to see like what kind of old fashioned I like, go ask for an old fashioned at one of those places near you. Yeah, real cherries. Real cherries. Yeah. I gotta sit up here, get my posture right. Because I'm having back problems. I'm sitting on a stool, by the way. So if you could see what was in front of me, I'm in my kitchen right now. Technically, I'm at the kitchen bar, or like the kitchen island, and over here to my left, there's a space there. I could put a computer desk at. Haven't gotten one yet. As you can see, I've got nothing on the walls here. Like no pictures, nothing, because I'm the first person to be in this unit. This is a brand new, a complex. And excuse me, I'm getting sick. And I kind of made a knee-jerk move to move in here because I had to downgrade. So I used to live in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I've got 2 kids. And because of like a bunch of stuff that happened with Polk County and one thing led to another, I lost my job. I had difficulty getting another job on the same level that I was at before. And so I've had 6 offers rescinded because of the new background crap that came out of Polk County. So that's one of the reasons why I do this full time now. And so I had to downgrade. So now I'm in a 1-bed, 1-bath, but it's a much nicer place. And I haven't put anything on the walls and stuff yet because I don't know if I'm going to stay here another year or 2, or if I'm going to move to like a bigger apartment or something with more rooms, because I do need another room or 2. So I'm like, well, you know what? I don't want to be responsible for like paying anything when I leave. So I just chose not to put any pictures and stuff up. That's why it's kind of bare behind me. And I'm sitting at the kitchen island instead of a desk. So it's kind of annoying. Sitting in this really uncomfortable stool. It's good looking. If you can see the aesthetics of my place, I think I have pretty good taste. I'm all about the aesthetics and stuff, and less about the comfort. Even these couches that you see behind me, it looks really nice. It's genuine leather. It looks plush and everything, but man, it's so uncomfortable. But I sacrifice a little comfort for freedom. Yes, I'll sacrifice comfort for freedom any day, but I'll sacrifice comfort for style as well, in case you didn't know that. Ask me again, Translucent. You said, why were you sacked, if we can ask? What exactly are you talking about? I'll be happy to answer the question. Let me see. I'm just going through the comments here. I haven't been looking. Yeah, I mean, if you can afford to like get a house and actually have that's a good investment. If you can find a good deal on one, you have the money. But you got to have the money, or at least like being able to take out a loan and the kind of thing. But yeah, it's the market. The housing market is terrible. I think it's going to get even worse. So if you have the money to move into an actual place and you can afford the mortgage, do it. Otherwise, you're just throwing money away. And any of these apartment / condo type situations, they're not ideal. But I understand why that's the only option for a lot of people. It is for me right now. So I'm paying way too much for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. It's crazy. It's at I think my voice, I'm losing my voice here now because I'm getting sick. But this is a nice apartment, but I'm paying way too much for it. Way, way, way too much. I mean, it's literally only like a couple $100 cheaper than the last place I was in. That was a 2-bed, 2-bath. Well, maybe like 300, but still. And the rents, it's going to go up when the lease ends here. it's going to go up another $200, $300 probably. Crazy. And I can't move. I mean, I can't move out of like where I live now because, I got my kids. I'm on a parenting plan, time sharing plan. I'm not giving up my time with my kids to move somewhere more convenient. I'm just going to have to suck it up for another, 15 years or so. And then, move somewhere else. I want to get out of Florida. I hate Florida. Sorry. I do not like Florida. I know you think I'm spoiled. A lot of you who would love to come to Florida. It's a place to come, maybe have a vacation if you're in a place where it snows all the time. But Florida, in my opinion, it's not a great place to live. It's a police state. That's now the primary reason for me. It's a scary place, when you exercise your First Amendment, because, they do not like the First Amendment here in Florida. And now you got like the Halo law from Ron DeSantis. I believe he was modeling the Halo law after like something similar they did in Arizona, which was designed to counter First Amendment auditors and the like. I don't like the weather here either. I think it's too damn hot. It's too hot. Hot and humid, which makes it even hotter. Don't like it. I don't like Florida. I wish I can get out. Plus, Florida's saturated with a lot of auditors. Be nice to get out and go to some place that hasn't been touched too much. So, and you don't have basements down here in Florida either. I don't think. It's the swamp. It's not quality, land over here. It's trash, in my opinion. I'd rather get more out of my buck going up north and getting a house, and you get a big ass basement as well. That's basically a whole other floor. It's a good deal. You could turn that into a man cave or a YouTube studio. There's so many things you can do with a basement. You don't have that luxury here. There's a lot of reasons why I don't like Florida. The people here, a lot of them, it's too much of a melting pot, and you get a lot of crazies down here. You get a lot of, the traffic is terrible. You have the snowbirds, the elderly people who can't drive. You have a lot of foreigners from other countries where they drive like maniacs, and they come here and bring that here. And then you have a lot of college students and stuff that can't drive worth a damn. And then the traffic down here is terrible. Got a lot of violent people over here. You see it on my YouTube channel when I'm out doing my audits and stuff. You get people trying to get physical almost every single time I go out. All right. Yeah, I don't like Florida. Did I mention I don't like Florida? I don't like Florida. Florida's lost. I think Florida should, be like separated from the rest of the country. Like California should be separated. I think Florida should be separated from the United States. And Texas probably too. Texas is pretty bad. It's a police state. They're actually trying to make a felony out of the same things that people in Florida and everywhere else are getting whacked with trespass for recording in public. And those are misdemeanors. Texas is trying to felonize it, if that's a word. They're trying to make those things into they're trying to find a way to make this a felony. Texas hates the First Amendment as well. Fuck Texas. Excuse my language. And I used to be one of those people where I was like, Texas, hell yeah. It's a red state. They won't violate our rights there. Well, when it comes to your Second Amendment rights, yeah, they'll back you up on that. But First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, no, sir. No, ma'am. They do not like those types of American things over there. You'll never see me move to Texas. I do not want to be here in Florida, but like I said, I've got my kids here. So until they're grown up, I'll be here. Yeah, I can't believe I never thought I would say that. I never thought I'd say I don't like these red states, because I used to think they were free. Remember the motto from DeSantis down here in Florida, keep America free? And I thought that's what was going on during COVID and stuff. But with what's happening directly related to the First Amendment, no. What did you used to live in what state did I live in before different than Florida? I I was born in West Virginia, but I only lived there for like the first few years of my life. And then my parents or my family, we moved down to Virginia. I lived in Virginia for a few years, and then we moved to Lakeland, Florida. So that's Polk County. So I lived in Polk County for like a couple years, and then my family moved around a lot, and they're not a military family either. They just moved a lot. And then we moved from Lakeland to a small little town near Orlando, and then I grew up the rest of the way there until I went to college. I went to college up in the Panhandle in Florida, and I did 4 years there. And then I married my high school sweetheart, so I came back down here where I'm at now, and obviously that didn't work out. And then 4 years later, I got married again. That didn't work out. So I don't know. Maybe I'm giving up on the marriage thing, or maybe the third's a charm. I don't know. But the second wife was Puerto Rican. They're crazy, right? So got a pretty good excuse there. And then the first one was my high school sweetheart. I didn't know anything else prior to her, and she didn't know anything else prior to me. We were each other's first. And we were together for like 8 years before we got married. So everyone's like, "Oh, you're such a cute couple. It's going to last forever, a fairy tale relationship." And then like literally not even a year into the marriage, it went south. Very common nowadays. I think at least half of marriages that go on in this country, 50% of the time at least, don't last. It's kind of scary. That is scary. If I would have known back then what I know now, I think I would have chose more wisely. Because my high school sweetheart that I married, my first wife, she was a absolute control freak, and she's the one that divorced me, because I guess I didn't choose my battles carefully. I guess if I had to say what was my weakness, what did I do to contribute negatively to the relationship, I would say I didn't choose my battles wisely, but I wasn't wrong. And yeah, but my wife at the time, she was a control freak and treated me like she was my mom or whatever. And you can't, and that's very common nowadays in America too. I feel like most guys are kind of like led around by their wife, and I've never been one to be led around in that way, and there's a lot of friction. So that didn't work out. And then the second, I'm really sharing a lot with you guys today. And then the second ex-wife, the last wife that I had, she was just crazy. She was crazy. And yeah, it's a long story, but don't want to get too personal, but yeah, it just didn't work out. And yeah, I'm trying not to get too much into the super personal stuff. So yeah. And whenever I tell people like that my wife was Puerto Rican, they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, don't say no more. I got you. So yeah, if you know Puerto Rican women, you've been there, and you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I married her, so it's my fault. Well, I mean, nothing I did warranted a divorce, but I should have been more careful for sure. I always like to say I have a good judge of character, but when it comes to like romantic relationships, not so much. Apparently, evidently, I don't choose very carefully in that sense. So I'm just gonna have to kind of back off from that and not get too serious until it's obvious that it is or should be. Anyway, enough of that. Says my first time getting on a live, and it's nice to just kind of know you and the yeah, we all have drama in our lives. We all have a past on different things. So I've always been a good guy. I mean, I've always been a nice guy. I've never broken the law. I've never committed a crime my entire life. I mean, unless you're talking about like traffic and infractions and like speeding and that kind of stuff that the best of us happens to the best of us. But I've never gotten a DUI. I've never been convicted. Even, I was telling a lot of you when I when I was going through, good grief, I'm getting sick. When I was going through that thing with Polk County the first time around, and I lost, I told you guys I was convicted because I was convinced I was convicted, but I actually was not. And the reason I thought I was is because I was adjudicated. It's called adjudicated guilty with adjudication withheld. And I assumed, well, okay, I heard the word guilty, and I thought, oh, I was convicted, but actually I wasn't. So I still have 0 convictions. Hopefully I don't get convicted in this frivolous charge. That would be, I don't see how they could win that, but you know, worst, you always got to assume the worst. That would be my first conviction. If so, I'm still unconvicted. Never committed a crime. And again, unless you're talking about traffic infractions and stuff of that nature, I've never committed a crime. What's my email? Again, that's going to be libertytroll.llc@proton.me. Proton.me. Mr. Bone Dangles says, I just got yelled at. It's been 36. It's been 36 years. Gator Security is turning 60 this weekend. Happy 60th upcoming birthday. Mr. Bone Dangles, I've learned a lot today. Yeah, been kind of chilling here. This is like the first kind of like long live I've been doing, just kind of chilling and talking about random stuff here. It's because I got everything out of the way in the beginning. You know, all the updates and stuff I've already gotten out. So now it's just kind of hanging out. True Patriot, I'm 54 and I don't have any speeding tickets, DUI, etc. I had a couple tickets for my inspection being expired. Yeah, I'm not far behind you, man. I haven't had any kind of life of crime. I've had people accuse me of things. My exes accused me of nonsense, but it was all thrown out. It was all a bunch of bullshit. Worked for NASA on the shuttle project in the 80s. Cool. Very cool. Thank you, Tommy V, for posting my email there for everybody. What else should we talk about? It is Friday. I'm not doing any audits today. I usually don't go out on Friday unless it's like a dispensary or something, but I'm taking a break today. So I don't have any plans really until later when I pick up my son. But that's not till much later. So just hanging out. What do you guys want to talk about? So True Patriot is a woman, and she says, no accidents, and I'm a woman driver. Nice. See, I love living in a time in this country where we can go back to talking about like offensive things, like, you know, making fun of each other. I like that. I like using stereotypes and stuff against each other. I think it's great. When people say white jokes and stuff, like, it doesn't bother me, you know? And if you're, no matter what color you are, if somebody's using stereotypes and making fun of you, teasing you a little bit, I think that's totally cool. Totally okay. Because comedy in this country has been dead because of the last few administrations. But one good thing about this administration that I can say that we have currently is that we can now call people the R word again. I'm not saying it on my channel because I don't want the reach to be restricted. But you can call people the R word again, and you can use the G word again. I love that. I love that we can use those words. Like back when I was in middle school, we used to call each other that, and it was like no sweat off your back. You could call people the maggot word, but with an F. You know, I love that stuff is coming back, and people aren't like losing their minds over stuff like that. You know. Devil Dare says, Zach, read my movie questions, please. Let's talk about movies. Okay. I'm trying to find, I'm going to see Super Mario 2 movie on the 8th. Okay. That might be a good movie to take my son to go see, actually. Yeah, y'all want to talk? You want to talk about movies? If you were to ask me, like, what are some of my favorite movies? I love Back to the Future. I love that movie. It's like one of those movies that's just like, just so well done. It's perfect. Just the way it was done. Perfect. Could not have been done better. And then also like American History X. I think that's a great movie. The Butterfly Effect. It's another good one with Ashton Kutcher. Nacho Libre is pretty good if you like that kind of humor. Like if you like Napoleon Dynamite, you like Nacho Libre. I like Jack Black. He's good. He's fun. I love Adam Sandler movies. Waterboy, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. These are all good. Someone says The Big Lebowski. You know, I haven't seen that movie. I think I've seen parts of that movie, but I haven't actually seen that movie. Shawshank Redemption, classic. Yep, I like that movie. I like prison movies. There's one with Clint Eastwood, Escape from Alcatraz. That was a good one. I like Clint Eastwood movies. I like Clint Eastwood. I think he's a cool dude. Deliverance, The Longest Yard. Those are good. I like some of the oldies, but I like mostly like your new, like your movies from the 80s and 90s. Get that nostalgia. As far as like TV shows, Breaking Bad, I remember really liking that one. I was late to the party on that one, but I watched it, like binge watched it, and now I'm watching it with my older son. So I'm rewatching it now. We had a good time watching Cobra Kai a couple years ago. Did I see Game of Thrones? Because that's your favorite. That's from Bubsy. Yeah, I did see Game of Thrones. I was late to the party on that one too, and I actually really liked it. I binge watched that one. Chili Nose Football, a member, says, I used to have a crush on Amy Smart. I don't know who Amy Smart is. Not by name. Maybe if I saw a picture of her. I think Emily Blunt is a very good looking lady. If we're talking about actresses. And Salma, whatever her name is, the Hispanic one from back in the 90s when she was younger, she was a beautiful woman. Let's see here. Salma Sazak or something, however you say it. I think it's some, I can't pronounce, I don't remember. Jim says The Dark Knight is the best Batman movie. I think it's good, but I don't think it's the best. I think the best is Michael Keaton's first movie. I think he's got the I'm Batman down the best, 100%. I thought, what's his name? What's his name? Ben Affleck. I think Ben Affleck had a lot of potential, and he screwed it up with the whole Avengers thing. Yeah, that got screwed up. They made it more humorous and less serious. I didn't like that. But one of the best Batman scenes is the Ben Affleck one from his first Batman movie, where the warehouse scene where he beats the crap out of all those people in the most brutal way. That was like one of the best Batman scenes ever. See, I'm not against Batman. A lot of you in the comments, or some of you in the comments, were saying in the last video that I dropped yesterday, when I kind of like made a side comment about the Karen who had a Batman symbol on his truck, the one who assaulted me, had a big Batman symbol. And I said something like I referred to him as like being childlike for having that on his truck. I'm not against Batman though. I like Batman. Batman was my favorite superhero growing up. In fact, fun fact, I had a Batman costume when I was like 4 or 5 years old that I had for Halloween. And I actually would when I lived in Virginia, my family we lived out like on a hill or on a mountain or something. And there was a part of we had a lot of property, and the end of our property overlooked the main road. And I would put on my Batman costume and just stand out there, and my cape would be flapping in the wind. And I thought I was badass wearing a Batman costume at 4 or 5 years old. So yeah, I loved Batman a lot growing up. Yeah, Salma Hayek. Did I say it? Salma Hayek. That's who I was referring to. I think she's beautiful. Or back in the day, I mean, she's still pretty, but back in her prime, she was. That's my type. Let's see. Somebody says I really enjoy the new Naked Gun. I don't think I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. I'm trying to think of a good recent movie that I've seen. There's not too many good ones that are recent. I feel like Hollywood doesn't make good movies anymore, or it's very rare that they make a good one. They're just very generic and predictable. And what are some newer movies that you guys have seen like in the last year that you think are really like just, chef's kiss? What do you think? Tommy V says, yeah, she's 59, but looks great. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell she's 59. She's definitely older, but Heath Ledger is the best Joker. I agree. I do agree with that. He got like too into it in his character. He was like in character, even like off camera, just to maintain like just, doing such a good job with that. Yeah, I like the Latinas. There's a lot of them here in the Orlando area for sure. John Branch, $2. Thank you. The Wrong Missy. I haven't seen The Wrong Missy. Is that a movie? I haven't seen that or heard of that. Somebody says Weapons. I saw that. That was decent. I mean, it was a little different. I didn't know what to expect going and watching that movie. I usually don't watch the trailer or I'll watch the trailer, but that's the thing. Like the trailers give away too much nowadays. And I saw Weapons, and actually, I kind of like that one. It's about the witch. What's the difference between Batman and Black Man? Batman can go out at night without Robin. See, those are the kinds of jokes we need to bring back and not be offended about. You know what I'm saying? We should all make fun of each other. All right. The Substance. The Substance. Yes, that's with Demi Moore, right? That was a strange movie. That was good. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what I was. My brother was just like, "Hey Zach, watch The Substance," and I'm like, "Why?" He was just watch it. It's weird. It's weird as hell. He's like, and I watched it with mom and dad. I'm like, and he goes, "Just watch it." And I watched it, and I was like, "Oh, now I see why he was so awkward when he was watching it with our parents." Like, that is an awkward movie to watch with family. But it was good. It was different. I like movies that are different. That was a different movie. One Battle After Another. I just watched that movie like a few nights ago. I thought it was pretty good. That was good. That's with Leonardo DiCaprio. People said I used to look like him, by the way, back in the day. But yeah, he's a good actor. Very good actor. No, I have not seen the trailer for The Backrooms yet. I've seen a review on it though, but I didn't watch more than like a few minutes, so I don't really know much about it. I hear it's like pretty uncanny, right? It's got that uncanny effect. The Cure for Wellness is good. I feel like I've seen that movie. I recognize the name. I don't remember what that's about, but I think I've seen it. Another good movie is I can't remember. What is it? It's a romance movie. I don't like romance movies, but this one was good. It's an older one. It's like from the 90s or something. It's a Christian one too. What was the name of that movie I'm thinking about? A Walk to Remember, I think it's called. Is it A Walk to Remember? Is that it? Is that the one where the girl gets cancer, or he finds out she has cancer? Interstellar. Interstellar is a good movie. I love space sci-fi type movies. Event Horizon is another good one. I think they're making a sequel to that one, but I doubt it's going to be good because Hollywood doesn't make very good movies anymore. Somebody, Cannabis Angel Zozo says, thank you for what you do at dispensaries. Please visit Colorado and other states. If you hear anything, we need to watch our MMJ or record, and everything needs to remain clean. What's the next rec center you're going to do, or whatever it's called, like the basketball courts, golf course, and other stuff? I don't know. I think, like I said, I've around here within a 2 hour radius from where I live, I've been pretty much everywhere that's government. I mean, government buildings and stuff. I mean, I wish there was more. That's one of the reasons why you're seeing me out on doing the sidewalk stuff. It's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons. Did I see Space Adventure called Project Hail Mary? I don't think so. Do I know the dreaded rabble rouser or accountability for all? I know of them. I've spoken to each of them before, but I've never I haven't met them. Let's see. Free to Film Florida says the super chat isn't working for me. Hey, if the super chat's not working and you're trying to send a donation, appreciate that. By the way, you can just if you go to well, I'm sure one of the mods will post a link to my Cash App and GoFundMe. You can do it that way if you want. Yeah, I heard about that. Egos Collide Cult News, or KULT News, was on HBO Neighbor Show. I heard about that. I saw that. I don't think I've watched it, but I saw like pictures or something about that, and I've heard about it. I saw the headline. That's cool. I'll have to watch that. He's a character. He's a likable, interesting person. Michael Horton. Free to Film Florida, thank you for the $2. All right, you got it to work. Awesome, man. Thank you. Free to Film Florida is are you the guy that got? I think he's the one that got battered on a sidewalk outside of a bank in DeLand, Florida. Actually, if that's who you are, and speaking of that, I went to that same bank where you were battered, and I stood on the sidewalk for a while. Nothing happened, but I went out there to see if they treated me any differently or treated me the same, because I would not allow that to happen. I'm not saying you did. I mean, you stood your ground, but anyway, I went out there. Thank you. Hey, Zach, did you hear there's going to be a new Harry Potter remake TV show? Yeah, I saw that. I think it looks goofy. I think it looks dumb. I don't see the reason for that. I don't think they need to do a remake. I mean, the originals are done well. I think they should just expand on the universe and do other things like they already tried to do with, I forget what it's called, but they had like Dumbledore when he was young, but they made him gay. I didn't like that. Let's see. Young Guns. Yeah, that's an oldie. I've seen that. I don't remember much about it, but I've seen it. Bubsy, his list of movies here. He's got Interstellar listed as number 1, and then The Angry Men, and then 3, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Yeah, I like that. I like Clint Eastwood movies. 4, All Quiet on the Western Front. It's a German movie. And then 5, Boiling Point. And then finally 6, Requiem for a Dream. It's pretty good taste. I don't know what the Boiling Point is, at least not by title. All the John Wick movies were pretty good. Yeah. I feel like action movies are pretty good. SGV crew, keep doing great. Awesome. Well, are you part of the SGV crew, or is he watching, or is he streaming as well? What's going on there? I'm trying to see. Somebody says Reacher is awesome. I I've never got into Reacher. Kelly Rager, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, is saying, may I please have a recap? What happened to the Karen that melted down or had a meltdown over a camera that burned his own life? So this Karen, he assaulted me, stalked me on public property. I was on a public sidewalk. This is the video that went live yet, or that was posted yesterday. I dropped it yesterday morning. And it's the one where the guy was harassing me and so on. And the internet found out where he works because he was wearing his uniform shirt like an idiot, and got himself in trouble. He got fired from his job. I tried to press charges. The deputy told me to kick rocks, and so I'm going to have to do a follow up on that and make sure he's held accountable. But he did already lose his job, so there's that. So there, is that a good recap? Did I see the Last of Us TV show? I watched it. I started to watch it and I got bored. I couldn't watch it anymore. I like zombie stuff. I really likes The Walking Dead. And then I got my eldest son to watch it with me, and he really likes it too. So I like The Walking Dead, but I didn't like The Last of Us very much. I played the video game though. That was good. Yeah, I don't get the Harry Potter hype either. I mean, I like the originals though. They were good. I like Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. I like the one where he gets revenge on behalf of his brother. That was a good one. I think it might have been called Kickboxer or something. I'm not too sure. Have you all seen Mad Max? The original Mad Max and the Road Warrior. Those were some of my original favorite movies. Those revenge movies are satisfying. I guess that's why I like auditing too, because you get to I don't want to say revenge, but you get to hold a tyrannical government accountable. Satisfying. Let's see here. He gets revenge on behalf of his brother in every single movie. Van Damme, that's pretty true. Yeah, so you can see I'm kind of old school in a lot of these movies. I like the good stuff. I think I have good taste, good taste in movies. And I think it's not wrong to say that Hollywood now doesn't really seem to care about what they're putting out there. It's all about making $1. Oh, I thought we had like 800 plus people in here. We have 174. I was looking at the likes. I was like, I got to keep going because I got a lot of people in here. I appreciate those 170 plus of you who are still here. Appreciate you. Wow, it's 2:00. When did I start this? 11-ish. Yeah. So we've been here for over 3 hours. Bloodsport, yeah, it's a classic. I'm just going to go through the chat here one last time, see if there's anything else. Don't get sick, yeah. I don't know if it's because I'm talking a lot and I feel like I'm getting sick, or if I'm actually getting sick. I don't know. Hopefully not. But if I am getting sick, it's the Karen's fault for getting so damn close and right up in my face. Oh, cool. We have MCBO. He says, "What's up, Zach? I'm the guy that said, 'Yo, Zach,' on the bucket truck on the massage parlor video last month in Central Florida. Keep it up." It's cool to see people who drove by. Like, So he's one of the guys that like drove by and like honked or waved or something. I get that from time to time, and then like I see him in the comments later say, "Hey, I'm that guy that like waved at you, you know, driving by." And I get that all the time. That is so cool. The video I'm going to drop tomorrow, I think I'm going to drop it tomorrow, is one of the ones another dispensary I did in Ocala, the same place where I was assaulted in the video from yesterday that I went the other day. That same day, I went to other places, other dispensaries, and a guy who watches my videos pulled over, got out of his car, and shook my hand and told me he watches these videos. Those are always cool to see. Always cool to see. I love that. Did I see Jumanji? Yes, that's the original Jumanji with Robin Williams. Phenomenal. It's like one of those perfectly well done movies for what it is. And then I saw the comedy ones with Kevin Hart and The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. I thought it was funny. Jack Black is hilarious in that movie. Kelly says, I think what is happening to you in Polk County into what's happening to Sean Paul is sin. Yeah, it definitely is. It's malicious for sure. Love the body cam footage included in your videos. Yeah, I agree. I try to use that as much as I can. I don't always include that because if I don't believe it's really worth paying for the body cam footage. If there's nothing really too significant, I think I might find in that. I don't go through the trouble of doing that. But if it's something where I think the conversation would be interesting behind closed doors, I'll get it. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here for this long. It's been 3 hours, so this is the longest live stream I think I've ever done, where it just comes to just chilling and talking. So I'll let you guys go. I'm gonna let myself go here. I got to eat something. I haven't eaten all day. Got to get my immune system up in case I'm getting sick. Right. Look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. But thank you guys for all the super chats. Thank you for becoming members. Thank you for donating. Thank you for all the financial support. As you know, I need it. We all need that. We have, as auditors, we need support within our community as we're going through these tough times, as we're being maliciously attacked by our government in retaliation. Whenever you see something like this happen in your community, support it any way that you can, no matter if it's me or anybody else. But right now I'm definitely in need of that kind of stuff. So thank you guys for all of that. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Yeah, I should be dropping a video tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And I'll be doing these lives more often. It's been fun. Thank you. See you guys.